Sir.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is our special commission meeting. Meeting is being scheduled for Monday, November 23rd, 2015, at 8 p.m. at the Commission Chambers, 500 Southwest 109th Avenue. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Clerk will note the absence of Mayor Lopez, sir.
Please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's pray. Dear Lord and good God, we are here tonight before you and before this audience, Lord, asking you for your blessings and your guidance and your wisdom to decide every item in such a way that we can always provide security, welfare, and justice for our community. We ask you for those that are ill, that you put your hands on them so that they can recuperate. We pray for those that are being lost in war, for those that are putting their life on the line of duty to defend our country and to keep our liberty and our democracy. We ask you your protection for all those soldiers abroad that put their life against the terrorism and fighting every day and every night to keep us safe here at home. Now stay in these chambers, give us your blessings, and thank you for your love and your mercy. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Madam, where is police? No have any police in here.
I saw Sergeant
Why?
Benito downstairs.
No, Sergeant Benito is down. He said no go upstairs. Why no? It's no problem for usted. Pero es necesario cuando yo le explique a ellos que usted es un oficial de policía para que llame inmediatamente al jefe de la policía y dé una contesta antes de terminar el meeting. Ese es el problema, nada. No, interino.
Okay, item 4 is public comments. This meeting is open to the public. If someone wants to come forward. No one is coming forward.
We have an item.
At
that point.
Yeah, at that point you okay.
Ahí está la lista.
Okay, so we have several several people here, several persons that want to come forward.
We have this guy, that's right.
So we have Hector Gutierrez. Hector, are you gonna address the commission and the public, please?
Ya sé, hay
El tiempo mío se lo voy a ceder a Consuelo.
Okay, 3 minutes. Consuelo Espinosa, buenas noches, Consuelo, good evening. So Consuelo is gonna have 6 minutes if you don't have any other donor. Si no hay otro donante.
Yo voy a hablar en español.
Okay,
Por
¿tenemos
favor.
alguien ahí en la audiencia o que podamos
translation.
traducir, por favor? Can someone translate for Consuelo?
Robert, no.
Oh, por favor. Ellie, who could it be better than you? So that the city clerk takes the proper minutes.
Buenas noches, honorable vicealcalde, vicepresidente de la Comisión de Subores, honorables comisionados todos, muy buenas noches. a toda la comunidad aquí reunida.
Good evening to the commission, good evening to the constituents present here tonight.
Gracias por darnos la oportunidad de hablar frente a ustedes. Mi nombre es Consuelo Espinosa, secretaria de la organización sin fines de lucro Community Performing Arts y coordinadora de la celebración de la gritería. Estamos aquí juntos. Oh, sorry.
Good evening, my name is Consuelo Espinosa, representative of Community Performing Arts Association and representative of La Gritería event.
Estamos aquí junto con un grupo de hermanos de la comunidad, ciudadanos americanos y contribuyentes del erario público, porque queremos pedir el apoyo a la comisión de la ciudad de Sweetwater para poder celebrar el evento más venerado y significativo de la comunidad nicaragüense, como es la gritería.
We're here with several constituents, American citizens of your community, in representation and assistance of this organization to ask you, the commission, for assistance in the event La Gritería.
Estamos desesperados porque no tenemos los $7,732 que la alcaldía de Sweetwater nos cobra para pago de policías y mantenimiento que trabajarán en el evento.
We are desperately asking for your assistance and support in reference to a bill of $7,732 that the mayor's office has given to us to help cover the police and the trash pickup of this event.
Aquí tengo un recibo e email que nos ha girado la oficina del señor alcalde con los bills que nos están cobrando.
Madam.
Quiero que la señora del Deputy Clerk lo ponga en...
Madam City Clerk, we're at this time giving you, for the record, and also if we can distribute to the commission, the bill and the email with the numbers that we just spoke about.
Excuse me, Consuelo, esa cantidad es la misma que le ha habilitado la administración, el alcalde,
Sí, señor.
los $7,732.
Sí, señor.
Ok, gracias. Thank you.
A nosotros nos duele mucho la situación que enfrenta en estos momentos la ciudad. Esta es la ciudad donde miles de nicaragüenses nos instalamos en el año de 1900 que llegamos aquí. Pero también quisiéramos que ustedes tomaran en consideración lo positivo de este evento para la ciudad ante tantas cosas tristes que han sucedido.
I apologize, it's a little
A
more.
nosotros,
alright.
a
Go
nosotros
ahead,
nos
then.
duele mucho la situación de la
You can
ciudad.
paraphrase it, you don't have to
I will.
make
I'll
it.
paraphrase as best as I can. Currently, she feels for the difficult times that this city has gone through. One of the things that this organization takes pride of, and with you, and with all the Nicaraguans that have been here since the 80s, is this event and the positive news and the positive feelings that it brings to this city. This is an event not for the city, not for this organization, it's for the constituents. It's for the people around in this community that come here and enjoy this event one time a year.
La alcaldía nos ha dado hasta el 30 de noviembre para cancelar esta cantidad.
The city has given us a deadline of November 30th to come up with the full amount of the pay of both the police and the cleaning services.
Hoy les pedimos a ustedes, respetuosamente, que por favor apoyen a esta comunidad de nicaragüenses y de otras comunidades en Sweetwater que se benefician de este evento.
We ask for your support, the Nicaraguan community, and also all the different communities that come to this event, and request your help and any ideas that we can help and try to pay for this event.
Les pedimos por favor encontremos una solución, como nosotros anteriormente a venir aquí le ofrecimos muy respetuosamente al señor alcalde, para poder que la ciudad no saliera lesionada y que pudiéramos celebrar este evento.
In meeting with the
¿Quién causa tanta alegría?
¡Que viva la Virgen!
in several meetings with the honorable mayor that this community, that this association has had, we've given several ideas as to how we can mitigate this outstanding fee. And unfortunately, till this point, it's all fallen on deaf ears.
También les pedimos su autorización para que nos permitan poner los banners en propiedad de la ciudad donde necesitamos anunciar el evento.
Besides requests with mitigation of this fee or help with the fee, we're also asking for us to be allowed to put banners around the city, with your permission, of course, so we can give some publicity to this event.
También de igual forma les pedimos, como en años anteriores hizo la ciudad, para que a través de las autoridades de la ciudad se contacten con FIU, como dije, como se ha hecho anteriormente en otros años.
Permiso
Para-
un momentito, Consuelo. Excuse me for a moment, Consuelo. No quiero que sea considerada una falta de modestia, pero creo que vale la aclaración que por primera vez bajo mi administración fue que nosotros hicimos esos bellos, por 2 años consecutivos,
Sí, señor.
esos 2 bellos eventos que hicimos con el apoyo incluso de los trabajadores, de la policía, del comando de la
Me-
policía, porque era el liderazgo que teníamos en esta
Sí,
ciudad,
señor
con la
alcalde.
ayuda de la comisión, los que nosotros proveímos
Señor Dios.
esta festividad.
Así es,
Esperemos,
tuvimos siempre
esperemos.
el apoyo del exalcalde José Díaz, estos 2 años anteriores, y de toda la comisión de la ciudad de Surigüe tuvimos ese apoyo, y se celebraron los eventos con gran éxito, que en todos los medios informativos salió publicada una cosa muy positiva para la ciudad de Surigüe y el beneficio que han tenido todos los negocios.
Creo que el comisionado Dazo
No, yo
quiere
quiero
dirigir
hablar,
la
pero
palabra.
yo llevo 35 años en la ciudad. Conozco la constitución de la gritería desde entonces. Por eso cuando ustedes terminen de hablar, yo quiero hablar de eso. Porque ustedes tienen mucha razón. Sí las tiene el pueblo nicaragüense, que son iguales que nosotros. Que vinieron huyendo del comunismo igual que nosotros. Quiero hablarles, perdónenme, hay veces me emociono. No está en mí.
El tiempo está contra nosotros, ya que el evento es el sábado 5 de diciembre y respetuosamente les pedimos si podíamos tener hoy una respuesta de ustedes porque ya estamos atrapados en el tiempo.
We're less than 2 weeks away from this very important event for the city, for us, and we're looking for a resolve. We can't hold anymore. We want to have this event. We have to have this event. And again, for us, for the city, for the constituents, we need to have this event, and we need your help.
Y para terminar, quiero decirles, reiterar en nombre de toda la comunidad nicaragüense, de esta organización Community Performing Art, agradecer al exalcalde José Díaz y a todos los comisionados.
Al
que-
alcalde Maroño también, que lo hizo por primera vez
Sí,
también,
porque
por
él
unos
fue,
2 años.
Él fue el que propuso, el
Correctamente.
alcalde Maroño fue el que propuso públicamente
Ya yo lo
que
diré.
esta gritería se cerraran
Ya yo
calles
lo diré en mi
para
speech.
que se celebrara la gritería, incluyendo al alcalde actual. Él apoyó el año pasado también, como comisionado que era, los eventos de la gritería y ahora
Estaba el
no
alcalde.
entendemos sabemos que la ciudad tiene dificultades, pero yo creo que conversando como le propusimos a él podemos llegar a un entendimiento en que la ciudad no salga lesionada y nosotros podamos realizar este
And
evento.
I'll paraphrase very, very briefly. We wanted to thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, and all you commissioners, because I think all of you, last year and the past 2 years, have helped in some way. And we are truly appreciative and thankful. And again, let's bring something positive to this city.
Muchísimas gracias y que Dios los bendiga a todos.
Gracias,
y bendiga esta
Consuelo.
ciudad y la ayude a salir de este trago amargo en que está atravesando en estos momentos.
Amén. Amén. Gracias.
We thank you, commissioners. We hope the city succeeds and is here for the rest of time. And if, as she said, some type of anything from you guys, of ideas of what we can do to try to resolve this. Thank
Y
you.
con el grito que nos une a los nicaragüenses, ¿quién causa tanta alegría? María de Nicaragua. ¡Que viva la Virgen! Gracias.
Gracias.
Mr. President.
Adelante, Commissioner.
Yo llevo 35 años en esta ciudad. Parece mentira, pero mi pueblo, ustedes me han elegido a mí. Translation, please, please. Porque quiero que comprendan los nicaragüenses que me están oyendo en su casa y muchos de ellos lo que estoy hablando. Please, perdón. Yo llevo 35 años en esta ciudad.
I've been here 35 years in this city.
Cuando yo fui director de mantenimiento, el señor Armando Penedo,
Oh, when I was director of maintenance, Mr. Penedo,
del año 81 al año 86,
from 81 to 86,
me daba orden
he would give me orders
de que pusiera sillas,
to put chairs.
mantenimiento. Era el jefe, Stromeyer.
He was the boss.
Yo le ponía todas las sillas. Muchas veces le ayudábamos a buscar pencas de plátano, que parece que es original de algo de eso. Bien. Le instalamos el podio.
We installed the podium.
Esos 5 años de Penedo fue así. Penedo se va y es posible que también entrara después la comisaria Moroño. Estaba la señora Violeta Ocampo, que los daba donde están los ranchos por años. Ella siempre nos comunicaba a nosotros y nosotros le dábamos 35 o 50 pesos
Ms. Ocampo would always request some assistance. They would give $35, $40.
que costaba las cajas de manzana.
I was cost with the
nosotros lo
fruits
damos.
that would be
No lo
given.
hemos negado. Ahora bien, llega un problema muy grave. El señor alcalde Maroño se da cuenta de que están cruzando la 107 y están cruzando Flagler, porque en todas las esquinas
There was a problem because the event became so large that there was constituents crossing Flagler and 107th Avenue, creating a safety hazard.
iba a haber un accidente.
There was going to be an accident.
Él conversó con los nicaragüenses, entre ellos también conversó con Madroño, que tiene un restaurante que lo da muy grande allí. Hay personas que quizás quedaron disgustadas, pero les gustó a todo el mundo. Lo que ponía la ciudad yo no lo sé, pero con el alcalde Moroño lo dieron 1 o 2 años, joven. ¿Cuántos años lo dieron con Maroño?
Pero no en la 107, se daban en la...
Maroño lo dio en la 107. Sí, lo dio en la 107, me consta. Y empezábamos nosotros a organizar eso. La ciudad le ayudaba a ustedes, yo no se lo ayudaba, pero lo ayudaba y ustedes lo daban.
The city would help to put on this event.
Yo nunca vi que hubo problemas, todo era religioso. Pero hay que empezar desde el punto que ustedes vinieron huyendo del comunismo y nosotros se han asentado aquí, han traído familias igual que nosotros. Hubo una ley Nacara, yo no creo que fuera muy grande, pero hubo una ley Nacara. No se ha llevado, no se ha hecho verdaderamente el ajuste cubano que se había de hacerse para ustedes, muchos, que es discriminación. Pero sí entiendo que a ustedes hay que ayudarlos. Aquí el problema no es cubano ni americano. Ustedes tienen su virgencita, los cubanos tienen la de él también. Estamos claros en eso. Ahora bien, si a ustedes lo ayudó Penedo, a ustedes lo ayudó Moroño, a ustedes lo ayudó el alcalde Díaz, ¿por qué motivo no se les da a ustedes el que le permitan que ustedes puedan limpiar?
If all the past
Go ahead.
administrations for the past, I'd say 10, 15 years have given assistance, why can't this new administration give assistance as well?
Hay un jefe interino de policía.
There's an interim police chief.
Ese señor, conjuntamente con Carmona, del investigador Bruno Alto, estuvieron en la 112 dando tickets de comida a los choferes que pasaban por ahí, para que nos conozcan. El señor chief interino de policía consiguió alrededor de 400, 500, 600 pavos y le dio a su pueblo. Porque en estos momentos, si nosotros tenemos en el departamento de policía alrededor de 15 policías de la reserva, no los ayudamos a ustedes, señores. Señores, nosotros recibimos anualmente 17 millones de dólares. El departamento de policía de él nada más se lleva 10 millones de dólares. Señor, préstenos nos ayuda a ustedes que nos la está prestando a nosotros. Los comisionados nunca se han negado a nada. Siempre han estado deseosos de servirle a ustedes. Por eso, en este momento, el señor interino Díaz, yo lamento que no haya un policía para que lo llame, porque siempre llama y le están contando todo, que él llamara aquí y dijera, yo voy a hacer las gestiones para que los policías que están en la reserva, 4, 5, 6 de ellos vayan allí gratis. Y además dice, si hace falta un jefe, yo voy. Correcto. Yo entiendo. Sí, no, me están entendiendo todo. Yo sí. Es lo que me interesa a mí que comprenda. Porque mi voz, yo sé que es la voz de los comisionados de aquí. Porque sienten y padecen igual que ustedes. Y de la misma forma en que nosotros les tocamos a ustedes las puertas, cada vez que hay elecciones, tenemos que defenderles a ustedes. Porque ustedes son un número uno. Y vinieron igual que nosotros. Ahora bien, el señor jefe de la policía debía designar 5 o 6 policías free para ustedes ese día, porque es muy cariñoso, da bono de comida y consigue pago para el pueblo. Y ustedes no son pueblo. ¿Por qué no busca esa forma? Yo espero que le va a llegar. Si no, con mucho respeto, yo se lo digo mañana. ¿Se dan cuenta? Pero sí, si nosotros, señor abogado de nuestra ciudad, nosotros podemos pasar, digo, si no lo veta él, una resolución de emergencia pidiendo que los dejen a ellos limpiar, lo podemos hacer en una resolución de emergencia hoy.
There are a couple of issues, Commissioner. You've asked the following question, whether this commission can go ahead and allow the folks putting together this event to go ahead and basically take care of the cleanup. To the extent that you're able to perhaps allow that, I just want to make sure that you keep in mind that ultimately it has to be done a certain way. And I'm sure that they're going to go ahead and take care of that. But ultimately, you want to know how you would handle it, how you would handle the cleanup not being performed in the way that the city would otherwise do it. Can you do it? Can you go ahead and allow that? Yes, but I will give you the caveat that you have to make sure that the cleanup is done properly in one form or another.
Tengo el piso, abogado, perdone. En muchos años, esta ciudad, el departamento de elecciones, el departamento de mantenimiento que yo presidía en esos 15 años, los ayudó mucho a ellos. Y mantenimiento, el alcalde decía, vayan allí. ¿Qué pierde nuestro alcalde si le permitimos que ellos limpian? ¿Qué perdemos nuestro alcalde si hay un jefe de policía interino que reparte bono, reparte pavo? Decir, yo voy a buscar 5 o 6 policías que vayan allí, porque nunca ha habido problema. Hace falta la policía, pero yo sigo religiosamente en las reuniones de todos ellos, religiosamente por años. Nunca ha habido problema, nunca ha habido disturbios, nunca ha habido nada. Yo espero que después de esto, si nosotros podemos pasar a la resolución, no sé, el alcalde comprenda. Por lo menos tenemos el assistant chief aquí. Digo, el assistant chief, el assistant del mayor, que debe llevarle al mayor esta situación que tenemos. Es una situación normal y tranquila. Ellos no piden nada malo. Señor abogado, assistant chief del mayor, ellos están pidiendo que les dejen limpiar, porque quieren celebrar su Virgen María como nosotros celebramos la Virgencita de la Caridad, ¿verdad? Y no se nos dice nada. Ahora bien, simplemente, y el señor que usted se lo puede llevar, el señor Plácido, que reparte tantos bonos de comida en la 112, en tiempo atrás, y ahora repartió 500, 600 pavos porque ama a mi ciudad, los ama a ellos. Por favor. Que ponga 5 o 6 policías allí, de los que están en la reserva, que no ganan y tienen que hacer 10 horas toda la semana free para la ciudad. Chicos, esas 10 horas las haga esa noche allí. No tengo más nada que decir. Ustedes saben cómo pensamos. Mi pensamiento, estoy seguro que está con Dios y el Espíritu Santo me enseñará a hablar. Yo no hablo tanto. Pero los comisionados aquí les quieren a ustedes. Muchas gracias.
May I give the floor to... Go ahead, Mr. Ventura.
There are a couple of issues here. first off, I personally resent the idea that we have not spoken or not dealt with Consuelo and Hector. This is a series of emails between Indira, my secretary, and the people from La Griteria. She comes to me 2 or 3 times a day on this, and she's been doing that for the last 2 weeks. I met with La Griteria, or the people with Consuelo and Hector, along with a police officer in charge of off duties, and along with Pucci. Subsequent to that, Pucci and the same police officer met with Larry Perez, met with them again. The original figure that they were offered, they thought was too high, so we worked with them, and we reduced that figure substantially. However, the one simple solution that we did offer them that would lower the cost to almost nothing is to use Ronzelli Park. We offered them the opportunity to use Ronzelli Park for free. They would have to pay for 1 or 2 police officers, and that would be it. We would handle the cleanup the way we would ordinarily handle Ronzelli Park. For their own internal reasons, they obviously do not like Ronzelli Park for some reason. They want to close 107. That's fine. But in any other jurisdiction in the city, there would be a charge associated with this. Last year, there was a charge associated with this as well. I don't have those figures here, but there were 21 police officers assigned, 8 of whom were paid. This year, we've offered 8 police officers. It's a smaller event. Last year, they had the entire drag of 107th. This year, it's only half of that. So we were able to do away with certain others. You were able to economize on some others. But we have exactly the same number of paid police officers this year as the city had last year. So the only real issue is 1,850 for maintenance. Now, I want everyone to recall that this is not our street.
Excuse me, Ralph. So the police services are covered already. The only thing that they will have to come up with is the maintenance.
We have exactly last year there were 21 police officers assigned. Of that 21, 8 were paid. Mm-hmm. The others were volunteers or reserves, or however it was done. This year there are only 8 police officers assigned, and they're paid. But it's exactly the same number of paid officers. Now, as for reserves, or staffing it solely with reserves, the department has suffered a significant number of layoffs in the last 6 months. We hope to have some sort of news on that, good news in December, but that's for another day. But the department has suffered a significant number of layoffs. There simply aren't the bodies that there were last year. And the same number of officers are being charged for this year as were being charged last year. I don't know if the number is exactly, the monetary figure is exactly the same, but exactly the same units, exactly the same number of badges. Now, as for cleaning up the street, this is not our street. 107th belongs to the state. It's a state road, I believe. If this were 109th, it might be different. But it's 107th. And not only is it not even our road.
Is it the main road?
It is not even, excuse me, Mr. President, it's not a major road. It's the major road.
The only.
Yes. 109th is second in importance, but realistically, it's a distant second. Now, I'm going to defer to the city attorney on this, but I do want to raise.
It's possible your speech not too much, please.
Okay. One more.
I necessarily speak more.
Okay.
It's very important. Your decision say in this moment. For Consuelo understand what you say in Spanish. Usted habla español.
Sí, cómo no.
Y usted habla español para que Consuelo lo entienda.
Sí, cómo no. Me gustaría terminar este tema. Entonces,
termínalo.
Porque a mí no me hace falta traducir.
No, you're right.
All right, so there is one other issue I'd like to defer to the city attorney on, but this is something that has not been covered. This is a religious event. And there have been recent changes in Supreme Court precedent that do permit this type of religious event to be covered, and that's fine. However, if you were going, the city is going to sponsor, which is, that's what you're doing by paying for it. If we're giving away and we're sponsoring services to one religious event, what about the next one? What about if the next religious event is for an entity that's not particularly favored, as there was a year ago when somebody wanted to give the invocation to the Church of Satan? Quite frankly, if they came here and if services are given away to one religious entity or one religious event, and 2 months from now the Church of Satan shows up and I want exactly the same deal, why couldn't they get it? Counsel?
At that point, similarly to the discussion that we had with the invocations, is you couldn't close out those courtesies or those services to any other religious organization that would be asking for that. So you, in reality, you would need equal and consistent treatment of subsequent religious organizations. Now, the part that where I want to go ahead and make distinguishing factor is that I believe that the one requesting this is not a religious organization, it's a not-for-profit organization. So I think that in and of itself is a distinction. In other words, you don't have a particular church coming in and asking for that, whereas you may have to open it up to other churches. What you have is a not-for-profit organization, and yes, there are religious undertones, but there are also cultural undertones to that. So that may be a distinguishing factor.
It may be a distinguishing factor, although it is sort of like saying that you have a nonprofit that wants to celebrate Christmas. It's still a religious holiday. But the point is really not whether it is or is not completely there. The real question is whether this could expose the city to some sort of potential liability in the future. Now,
Please.
Can I
I'll
say
be happy
something
to
real quick?
expand.
No, wait.
I mean, Commissioner Bergignan has been asking the floor.
No,
for a
just
while
real
already.
quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think that this problem goes to show the same thing that is happening here in our politics and our finances and everything else. We're getting to the point where we're litigating ourselves to death because we're so scared of the other guy talking about the other guy and bringing the other guy and suing the other guy and everything else. There's no organization that's going to come here to the city of Sweetwater that is made up of the residents that's been doing this for 30-something years, whether religious or not, that everybody respects, everybody participates in, and it's a special situation. And you know what? Sometimes they damn the torpedoes. Somebody else wants to come with something else,
Oh,
then we'll deal with it then. Because lo que quería decir un momentico en español, que lo que es lo mismo problema que estamos teniendo ahora en todas las otras cosas, en política, en finanzas, en todo, que estamos tratando de litigar todo. Si viene esto es un su, si la otra persona no le gusta, ¿qué vamos a hacer? La realidad es que algunas veces hay que usar el senso común. Y estas son las personas que vivimos aquí. Nosotros queremos participar, lo hemos hecho por años, no se va a acabar el mundo. Se puede trabajar con ellos. Yo entiendo que hay ciertas regulaciones y leyes que tenemos que participar y seguir. Pero creo que hablando y entendiendo, todo el mundo quiere que este evento siga. Y no creo que nadie aquí quiere que no siga a propósitamente. Pero no podemos estar con esa cosa de que todo es una cosa que se va a litigar.
Un
A ver si se dice así.
Me admite, presidente, cuando yo finish.
Go ahead.
Nosotros no estamos diciendo que no. Está bien claro que es el señor alcalde y el asistente del alcalde que tiene que ayudarnos. Porque como dice, esto viene de años. Señor, esto lleva 34 años aquí, desde el año 81 lo comenzó la señora Violeta Ocampo. No es de 3 días, de 34 años.
can I say this in Spanish?
Commissioner.
Sí, en lo que estamos perdiendo de vista es que se ha hecho por muchos años, pero en la residencia de las personas. Y yo le propuse también a Consuelo, ¿por qué no lo hacemos en una calle que sea menos principal para necesitar menos policía? También yo entiendo y todos debemos entender que la policía y los que dirigen la ciudad tienen la responsabilidad de tener una adecuada asistencia. Acuérdense que es la 107 lo que se está cerrando. En aquellos tiempos no había ni Dolphin Mall, ni había IKEA, ni había nada de eso. Si se va a cerrar desde la 4 hasta Flagler, ¿cuántos policías necesitan? Porque hay que tener en cuenta que hay que desviar el tránsito.
Son
por
8.
la 4.
Me hay.
Estamos hablando de 8 policías.
Me hay, presidente.
y nos alcanza con 8 policías. ¿Por
Me
qué no
hay.
podemos hacer en una calle? Yo le propuse a ella en la Avenida de Nicaragua, la 104, la 108, que ahí no creo que se perjudicaría a tantas personas y no necesitamos ni tanto policía ni tanto mantenimiento. Tendríamos que poner de la parte de todos, ¿no? Del alcalde y también de las personas que han hecho el evento por tantos años. Yo llevo aquí 44 años y he ido a todos. Y a la 107 se ha cerrado únicamente en los últimos 2 años.
Maroño la cerró.
No, Maroño nunca cerró.
Usted dice no, yo digo que sí.
El alcalde Díaz tuvo la amabilidad de cerrarlo. Él no midió las consecuencias de los costos. A esta altura yo no sé cuánto costó. A él parece que no le tuvo en cuenta todo lo que iba a costar. Y ahora tenemos esta consecuencia.
No.
Como estamos en este momento.
No hablamos de eso porque aquí no hay quiebra. Aquí no hay quiebra. No quiero yo hablar de eso, no me corresponde. Aquí en esta ciudad no hay quiebra. Perfecto.
Commissioner Duarte,
Pero señores, me hay, wait. Vamos, termine. Hay que terminar. Pero no podemos
yeah,
estar todo
Commissioner
el día
Duarte
con
wanted me
usted.
to say
Go
this in
ahead,
Spanish. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yo personalmente, traduciendo en español, yo personalmente, aún con un representante del Departamento de Policía y un representante de mantenimiento, me reuní con la señora Consuelo y el señor Hector para tratar de reducir los gastos actuales del evento. A partir de eso se rebajaron las cifras y ellos celebraron otra reunión. Yo no estuve presente en esa, pero sí se celebró una segunda reunión con el asistente director de mantenimiento y un representante del departamento de policía. Los números requeridos se bajaron. ¿Usted me dice que no? Los números...
Tiene que decir la verdad para que estemos todos en la misma página.
¿Estoy diciendo mentira? ¿Cómo?
Estamos reunidos.
Sí, porque con el señor... Después hablamos.
Okay. So, y a partir de eso, mi asistente Indira ha estado en comunicación con ellos casi diariamente. Estos son correos electrónicos o copias de correos electrónicos. El año pasado se presentaron 21 policías. Yo había dicho originalmente que eran 21 y 8 pagos. En realidad eran 21 más 8 pagos, por un número total de 29. Este año, pero habían 8 pagos. Este año se le ha planteado 8 policías pagos. Es el mismo número que se planteó el año pasado de policías pagos. La cifra de mantenimiento se ha rebajado bastante, pero sigue siendo $1,850. Originalmente era $2,200 y se rebajó por $400. La realidad es que nosotros sí hemos tratado, aquí no hay nada en contra ni la comunidad nicaragüense ni contra esta organización. Lo que existe aquí simplemente es el principio que los servicios que provee la ciudad tienen que ser pagos. En cualquier otro municipio sería pago, y en este municipio especialmente porque este año, precisamente este año, no hay fondos. No existen. Los fondos se han utilizado y estamos sin fondos este año. La ciudad no tiene con qué aportar esto, aún si sería algo que nosotros queremos hacer. No lo tenemos. Ahora, esto no es una decisión del alcalde en contra de esta organización. Aquí se le ha ayudado lo más posible dentro de lo que se puede con la realidad que se nos ha enfrentado esta administración. No hay más que se pueda hacer a este nivel, porque aún no tenemos ni dónde sacar el dinero para poder hacer esto.
Gracias, Ralph. Mr. Attorney.
No, I just wanted to add to the issue of the kind of precedent you would be setting. I believe that last year the same issue was encountered by this commission, and I believe that at that time the commission, I think each individual commissioner provided a certain amount, and that I believe it included the mayor as well, and all combined, I believe, provided $4,000, which went to pay the 8 officers in question. relative to whether your action today would create a precedent, I think that that precedent may have been already set. Last year, there was no discussion of that particular issue, but at the time, the commission and the mayor provided $4,000 to cover the 8 officers that the chief of staff mentioned, even though other officers were provided for free. I'm restricting my comment just relative to the potential precedent that an action here today may entail. I believe to the extent that any precedent may have already been set, it was set last year.
Absolutely. Ellie, do you want to,
I'm Eli
your
Gutierrez.
name and address for the records, please?
Eli Gutierrez, residence at 9821 Southwest 93rd Terrace, Miami, Florida 33176. I'm not going to get into a back and forth. We're losing the sight of the event. We're losing the sight of the constituents. We're losing the sight of the positivity the city needs. I'd like to concur with your city attorney with the help from all of you, and all of you helped, including the mayor that's presently now. The organization, and we have a check here, and we can put it into the record if you'd like. The bill after your assistance came out to $1,800. $1,800 that I paid, so I know how much it was.
I know.
That's what it was. I don't understand how an event gets smaller, because it's fewer streets now, and the cost is getting bigger. To Ms. Maroño and to her point of, and also Mr. Ventura, to his point, to move it to another location. It's going to take time to move to another location with traffic problems. I'm sure the police department has to look into it. Residency, the event is loud. It's a party, basically. Residents are going to be complaining. You have to understand the ramifications of just moving it within 2 weeks. And the most important thing is, you wouldn't move Calle Ocho. You wouldn't move some of the biggest events around the city. Why can't this event one day grow into a Calle Ocho? Why must we restrict this event? Why? That's a good answer that's a good question I think for any of you, if you'd like. Why can't the city of Sweetwater be the center of La Griteria around the country, like it was the last 2 years? And I looked it up. Nowhere in this country did La Griteria get celebrated by plus than 10,000 people in this country. Why can't the city of Sweetwater just allow it? And with your help, and if it comes out to 1,800, we can cover that. We're not an organization that's full of money, especially since this event, we've missed this, everybody. This event is what? It's free. We don't make any money off of it. You can check our books like we did last year. The former city attorney, he asked for them. He said, we'll give you the books. You can see how much we're making, which is nothing. Me personally and my family do it for that lady here. That's why we do it. We don't make anything. Why can't we just make it? It's a family event. We just need your help. Thank you very much.
May I, Mr. President?
Go ahead, boss.
Please, please, please. No only Calle 8. El carnaval de Chihuahua.
Why? Yeah.
Aquí en la 107 y cerramos completo.
Let's just come together. I mean,
Para nosotros los cubanos lo hicimos, pero no.
Yes, Ralph.
I'm not affiliated with the Kiwanis of Little Havana, but I'm certain that there's a fee associated with their services. I'm sure perhaps the city of Miami sponsors a good portion of this, but the city of Miami is in a completely different financial position than we are this year.
Thank you, Ralph. Okay, I'm gonna give you my my comment. I believe that if we all put the necessary efforts and we all come together, the event could be able to happen like the last 35 years or 37 years, I think it was, with Penedo, as Russell said, and Violeta Ocampo started
81
this.
and 86.
So I think that one of the ways to go ahead with this is to try to reach out to the business community and try to ask for donations. The city has budget limitation that probably didn't have in the past, but if we are talking about 8 police officers pay, I think that we can go. I think that the administration should push some of the police officers to donate. How many hours are we gonna have?
You're not gonna have to push them. They'll do it. They'll volunteer.
They volunteer.
Look at these volunteers, quick.
They will volunteer. I guarantee that they will volunteer for this type of events.
To answer your question, Mr. Vice Mayor, the event is from 8 to 11, but usually what you guys did last year at your Curtis Act, you closed it at 12. We didn't need to close it at 12. You can close it at 2 p.m. and then to 11. And I forgot one thing, and I apologize. The DOT road, we can speak to DOT as far as the cleaning if that's a problem. We have more than enough volunteers in this
Or we can use some city employees leading the cleanup, so it's done properly, and then you have your own volunteers. I'm gonna do this. I don't have the time that I used to have as being full time as a mayor. I'm gonna reach out to some business around the city that I guarantee that they will contribute with some money for this event. I cannot tell you figures right now, but I'll get in touch with you or Consuelo tomorrow, and I'm gonna make some phone calls. And I would like the Mayor Lopez too, because he is the administrator, and I don't want to invade his territory the way he did it to mine when I was the mayor, and encourage him to go ahead and provide that kind of support with the police officer. They present his leadership and ask them to volunteer. And if he doesn't want to do that, then I will address some of the officers to see if they want to volunteer for this particular event. That's all what I can say. And I believe that that's the feeling of all the commissioners to provide, support for this type of activity like we have always
and
done.
thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. And if you can keep in thought the cleaning process, we have more than 50 people that are going to clean it.
All right.
We'll make sure, we'll sign whatever we need to sign for us to handle the cleanup. It's not very
Okay.
difficult. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
All right. Thank you. And we're here to serve you and to share with you those traditions, and that's a kind of unity, family unity. It brings over a sense of community. That's what we are all dreaming of. Estamos tratando de traer un sentimiento de comunidad, de familia, de fe, de interacción entre hispanos y latinoamericanos, que no tenemos que hacer divisiones de ningún tipo. Así que cuenten con nuestro apoyo. Mañana yo los voy a contactar y estoy seguro que los comisionados van a hacer su gestión también. Hasta luego, muchas gracias. Buenas noches, doctor. Siempre un gusto verlo por acá. Hasta
Que Dios
luego.
le cuide a todos y hagamos el evento.
Licenciado, muchísimo gusto en verlos. ¿Y qué es lo que causa tanta alegría?
La concepción de María.
Adelante. ¿Cómo está, señor cantante? Tenemos que tenerlo por acá pronto, a ver si nos llena de honor con su bella voz. Licenciado, ¿cómo está? Igual.
No, siempre.
A todos los felicito.
Siempre.
En especial a usted y a usted, mi querido alcalde, que Dios me lo bendiga.
Gracias.
Buenas noches. Doña Prisca. Gusto de saludarla, a ver. Hasta luego.
Honorable comisión, honorable vicealcalde, soy Leobardo Rueda Gutiérrez, locutor de radio y televisión.
Leobardo, aquí era el próximo, sí señor.
¿Se me permite unos minutitos?
Sí, como no,
Gracias,
estás acá.
gracias.
3 minutos tienes, Leobardo.
Perfecto, rapidito. Pues quiero decirle, no estoy aquí como locutor ni como nada de eso.
No,
Únicamente,
pero no puedes esconder la voz, Leobardo, así que todos te reconocemos.
yo quiero decirle únicamente que yo soy el presidente de la Fundación SICAMEX, Comunidad Integrada de Centroamérica y México. Anteriormente hacíamos un festival de la independencia de Centroamérica.
Que salía del Orange Bowl, yo recuerdo.
Usted
y que yo
asistía,
participé.
exacto, de la 18 a la 22 avenida. Y nos necesitábamos tantos policías. Y en una ocasión la ciudad de Miami nos permitió a todos los voluntarios de la fundación realizar esa limpieza. Así que yo creo que eso no está en la cola de un venado,
Lo
como
vamos-
decimos
lo vamos a
popularmente.
resolver, lo vamos
y
a
le agradecemos
resolver.
a usted, señor Díaz,
Gracias.
al señor Baroño, por preocuparse tanto por nuestra comunidad, una comunidad pujante, una comunidad que quiere salir adelante,
Sí.
una comunidad que es muy humilde y sencilla. Y con esa humildad le pedimos a ustedes que nos apoyen.
Así
Recordemos que la advocación de la Virgen de la Caridad es la misma Inmaculada Concepción de María. Así que muchas gracias, buenas noches. ¿Y quién causa tanta alegría?
La Concepción de María. Gracias, Leobaldo. Ah,
Si me permiten, por favor.
licenciado, adelante, que estamos arriba. Adelante, rapidito.
Me recuerdo lo que dijo Monseñor Agustín Román. Los nicaragüenses han traído la alegría con el grito de quien causa tanta alegría, la Concepción de María. Y decía Monseñor Agustín Román, es uno de los patrimonios que han traído los nicaragüenses para la patrona de los Estados Unidos, la Concepción de María. Nuestro amigo Manuel Duazo nos ha dado un argumento poderoso. En una hipótesis de suprimir la fiesta de Nuestra Señora de la Caridad del Cobre y la fiesta a José Martí, se suprimiría, se eliminaría la identidad del cubano. Si nosotros dejamos desaparecer la identidad de la gritería, que fuera de lo religioso es una expresión cultural del nicaragüense, si dejáramos desaparecer esas dos figuras de la Purísima y el poeta Rubén Darío, desaparecemos como comunidad nicaragüense, como identidad. Y eso es lo que hemos venido a defender y vamos a defender. Y ahora permitidme aquellas palabras de el Papa Francisco en su reciente visita en Filadelfia, cuando le dijo a los inmigrantes: por favor, sean valientes con sus tradiciones, con su folclore, porque al inmigrante lo que le identifica es su folclore, su religiosidad y su legado histórico. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, licenciado. Okay, we have one more name here, Mr. Proctor. State your name and address for the record, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Jerry Proctor is my name. I'm an attorney with office at 1450 Brickell Avenue. Here on item number 8, the amnesty ordinance, I wanted to thank the city attorney and the city staff for this revised ordinance in accordance with the discussion here 3 weeks ago. The ordinance addresses permits or buildings built since 2002. It also addresses, as we discussed, buildings built prior to that time. And it sets forth a series of requirements, a series of safety assurances for the city. And it really borrows from other ordinances done throughout the county, the city of Miami and others. And I think it's a very good effort. We're still reviewing the ordinance, but from what we see, we like it, and we think it's a public benefit for your citizens and for the city. And we're here to support the item.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Proctor. Okay, we move to item 5. Do we have to close the public comments? Okay, item 5. A resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of Sweetwater authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement vacating that certain portion of the Northwest 108th Avenue right-of-way located between Northwest 25th Street and Northwest 23rd Street, as recorded on Plat Book 48 at page 58 of the Hampton Park subdivision, according to the public records of Miami-Dade County, Florida, and providing an effective date. Mayor Lopez is not here, but I think that this is the item that was concluded last meeting, right, Mr. Attorney?
Yes, the item, I believe, was taken off the agenda, so, in the previous meeting, so that we could go ahead and make some revisions to the item. Those revisions have been made, and administration is placing this item before you.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Move.
Moved by the entire commission, second by? Second by
Mayor.
Commissioner Barreto.
Mr. Vice Mayor,
Yes.
there's one slight thing that we wanted to bring up. In the contract that was given to the city and that it was approved by staff, there's only one slight problem in that I want our attorney to explain it. Basically, what happened is that the contract, as you all know, the idea is that all of us around the circle on 108th and 24th Street, all of us, what we're going to do is we're going to, at our cost, provide all of the paving that is required there, all of the sidewalks that are required there, the drainage that is required there, everything. We're going to do it at our cost, and the city is going to give us that area that you're not using right now. And of course, the main thing about that is that property now, which is right now is worthless, is now going to be paying property taxes.
Taxes to the
Okay,
city.
yeah, exactly. Now, what happened is that the way that the contract reads right now, there's like 5 different owners around the circle. What the problem is that the way that and I had not picked up on this before, but our attorneys fortunately did. The way that it reads now, if any one owner does not do what we're promising the city to do, if anyone, then the properties of all of the ones revert back to the city. And in other words, 4 of us could actually do our job and conform to the contract, and 1 doesn't, and that would create a real problem that I would like our attorney to explain.
If I can, real quick to the chair.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I think it was changed. I think they fixed it.
No?
I'm seeing here on page 3 of the agreement. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Commissioner, if you look at, I believe that the part in question, if you look at page 2, at subsection 7B, I believe that's what the gentleman is
Failed by
referring
owners?
to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jose Garcia. I'm from Cuevas and Associates. I represent Sun Sol Doral LLC, one of the owners that's going to be developing a hotel there. The only changes that we're requesting on page 2 of the agreement, section 2.6, just an addition of 6 months to allow for the initial compliance period. Right now it's at 30 months the way it's drafted. We would like to request that it be increased to 36 months. And then in section 2.7, right below that, we're requesting that as long as each owner does their own construction and improvements, that their portion of the land would be safe. Mr. Rodriguez is handing out the revised portion that we're requesting to be changed. Because right now, if one owner fails to comply, the city could revert, the entire property on the circle could revert back to the city. And our client's having difficulties obtaining the financing in order to complete the development of the hotel. That would be a great benefit to the city. And without that change, the financing won't be approved.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Attorney. If one of the persons failed to provide all the requirements, I think that it'll be inconvenient to the city just to adopt a piece of property that is worthless really for city use, nothing, and really don't provide any taxes to the city anyway. And you are penalizing other owners that from the investment that they already did in that area. So I want just to stay within the legalities of the agreement and find out whether this could have any other remedy instead of penalizing all the owners.
Mr. Vice Mayor, may I say something? Yeah, basically, in what I've passed out over here, and it's in yellow, basically what we're trying to do is, if anyone does not conform to what they're promising the city to do, then that owner's property shall revert back to the city. But for example, in our case, we're gonna be doing a hotel there. We're actually gonna be building on top of, it's impossible for us to give that property back. We're actually gonna be building on it.
Could it be given to, or could it be given to the person that wants to do the proper maintenance and proper landscaping and
But that
to be in compliance with whatever was requested?
That piece of land is only gonna be valuable to the person.
To the person,
that-
to the owner of that, adjacent
Exactly.
to that
Exactly.
property.
Exactly, adjacent to that property. So what we're saying is, listen,
Can we put it in the hands of the code enforcement?
well, that's what we're saying. If you read that paragraph, can the attorney read the
Okay,
paragraph?
this paragraph is for what, Tony?
This is what we're suggesting.
That's what you are suggesting?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. But can somebody read that paragraph, or maybe we'll read it?
Mr.
Hold on,
President.
Tony, one moment, please.
Mr. President, I want to make sure that the commission at this point is able to understand what is provided in the current contract, in the current draft, and what is being requested. The current draft, basically, as it reads, if any of the owners fails to comply, you have an automatic reversion to the city. Now, immediately after that, provides other options. What I'm trying to say is, if one property owner fails, it could automatically revert to the city if the city so desires.
Yeah, but it's not only that particular portion of the property, but
It will be
the
all of
one
them.
that is adjacent to all the owners.
Correct.
That's unfair, I
That's
think.
as it reads now. The subsequent language after the automatic reversion provides other options to the city, other options other than the automatic reversion. The city could avail itself of that automatic reversion, or it could follow any of the options that are provided below that. Okay? But the automatic reversion, yes, the city at that point could avail itself of the automatic reversion if there is no compliance with the requirements.
But, Mr. Attorney, by the reversion of all the properties, even if the other ones have been done and looking pretty and, properly maintained?
After the periods that are required, it says here that, and I quote, failure by the owners to complete all consideration requirements within the said additional period of 12 months. So this is 12 months beyond the initial 30 months. Shall
46.
result in all properties reverting automatically to the city, unless an alternative solution is agreed to by the city and the complying owners. So the city at that point may automatically get those properties back, unless it agrees to something else with the non-compliant owners.
If I can, to the chair.
Go ahead, Commissioner Burginyan, please.
Real quick, I see there's a conflict in the contract itself. If you go to page 3, where it says unification of property, section 6, it says, In the event that any owner does not comply with the requirements of Section 2 within 30 months of signing this agreement, the non-complying owner, not all owners, will be required to execute a quitclaim deed transferring the respective portion of the property back to the city. So it's conflicting with what it says in page 2.
What we're asking is the part that says that all of the owners shall revert back, be taken out of the contract, because our bank has said, guys, we cannot lend you money with something that you know, the city may or may not.
Right.
As per the paragraph, but they may, and we can't lend you money on that, because of that particular.
Ralph?
The idea here was as follows. Because this is a circle, essentially. And the idea isn't to finish 3/4 of the circle and then have the last quarter revert back to the city. I mean, the city accomplishes nothing with that. The whole idea on the part of the administration is that we want a pretty circle. We want the circle beautified. So the mechanism that's employed in here is that if, let's say, 3 of the owners finish their respective quadrants, but the 4th doesn't, then any one of the other 3, or all of them, can finish that 4th quadrant for the 4th owner and then charge that owner with a 25% markup. That was the idea, so that it wouldn't be the
It's
burden.
not the interest of the city really to take back that
It's
portion
not
of
the
the
interest to
property.
take it back, but it's also not in the interest of the city. In the original contract, the way it read was that the city could do the work, and it's not in the interest of the city to go ahead and do the work either.
Right.
Yeah. So the idea here was to say, okay, this syndicate of owners, however many there are, want this from the city. The city wants a beautified circle. We don't care if it's, or at least from the administration, I can't speak for the commission, but the administration doesn't want this, doesn't care if it's done, if it's beautified by 1 owner, 3 owners, 5 owners, we don't care, as long as it's beautified. So what we've done is we put in a default provision where any one of the complying owners can finish the circle for the non-compliant owner. And then
And
backcharge.
how those owners are gonna impose that fee to the non-compliance?
Well, you go through court at that point. Essentially, it's a judgment.
But I think that's amiss of what he's saying.
The biggest
What
problem
he's
we
trying
have
to
is
say
the
is
bank
that
saying we won't lend you.
Hold on, Tony.
I
He's
think
got
what
the
he's
floor.
trying to say is that that's not the real part that he's having an issue with. The issue that he's having is with if one of the owners does not comply,
Fails, everyone
then
is-
you can take back their property because it says all the owners, and they're actually going to build a hotel on part
Right,
of that property.
but that was the incentive to get the other owners to finish the property for the 4th person.
You got that incentive?
Right, but I think I'm not aware, but I think
It's
it's
an
almost
incentive.
illegal to force
It's
somebody
incentive.
into a contract. You can't. I don't think you can even do that.
Well, if everybody signs this, then you have a contract.
Right, but you can't force somebody to. Well,
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
The request that is being made, as I understand it, it's relative to the automatic reversion that the city may have. In other words, if the city, the city would have the ability, if the requirements are not met, to revert, to get all the properties back, regardless of what some
It's
of
been
the
in compliance or not.
some of the property owners that are actually comply with those requirements. I believe that's the section or the section in question. It is they have an issue with the automatic reversion of all properties, and I believe from staff's point of view, that's what I was saying. That below that, it provides an alternative mechanism to deal with the non-compliant owner, but the fact that you have this automatic reversion, in which, again, the city can go ahead and if there's non-compliance of any owner, just go ahead and automatically take back all those properties. That's how it is currently in the agreement, and I believe that's the issue of.
But I don't think that we should impose that kind of punishment to people that are trying to bring good things for the city and develop and be in compliance because just one other party didn't want to do it, you know.
Yeah, the issue we're having is that the bank, the lending entity is saying that with this automatic reversion, we're not obtaining clear title to the property, because something out of our control could result in us losing that property.
I think that we should look for a legal avenue just to work it out in such a way that this portion being taken away by the city, but the ones that are in compliance want to take it from
And
the
the
owners.
agreement also allows in section 7 on page 3 for the city to have the option to conduct the required repairs and then charge it back to whichever owner failed to comply. And the city would have lien rights against those owners.
What kind of remedy we can provide?
Mr. President, I believe that staff, the request being made by council here it's relative to the automatic reversal is a reasonable request. At the same time, the concern that the administration has to make sure that the circle in its totality, it's not only beautified, but all the infrastructure improvements are made. It's also a very valid one. One suggestion, one way that this can perhaps be fixed is if there is a non-compliant owner, that the remaining owners
take
will
care
go
of
ahead
that.
and basically take care of that. If they agree to take care of that, that will secure that will deal with the concern from administration.
And I understand,
that we
and
have
I
a complete circle.
I am the side of the city, but why should I fix something that is common for me and my neighbor, and then if my neighbor doesn't comply, it's gonna be taken away from me? I think that that's very unfair, really. I don't agree
Well,
with that.
he's saying to do that, to take that portion out and make it that the people, the other owners will take care of it.
Okay, I fix my portion and I have to fix yours too because you don't feel like fixing it? I don't think that.
But then why should we give up the entire circle at that point?
What if the land reverts to the people that take care of it? Like if the owner number 3 doesn't take care of it, and then the other 3 owners take care of it.
That'll be my point of view.
Then they can take the property.
As long as there's an incentive
Absolutely.
to have them finish the circle, I mean, another incentive would be that they'll get a set window for the third party owners to finish for the non-compliant owner, and if they don't do it, then the city can go ahead and do the job for them, but charge all the owners. All the owners are responsible.
That'll
for this.
be another.
And at a markup, not a cost, at a markup and a substantial one. I'd say 150%
Why
of
don't
actual
we leave the
cost.
legalities to them? Leave it at that. If they don't take care of it, the other 3 owners get the deed to that property, and they must take care of it.
I like
that
it.
way we don't even have to deal with it.
No, I like it. I think it's a good idea.
Is that going to be okay with you all?
One of the owners is shaking his.
Yeah, if the property would revert to whichever owners do
Wants
the work.
to take care of it.
The hotel's going to take care of the property that they own. So if the other guys don't want it, then they end up with that property.
That could work.
And they're going to pay for it.
And then so there would not be a language to the effect that the ones that did it, their property would revert back.
The amendment basically would eliminate the automatic reversion of the land completely, and it was just ensure that if there is a non-compliant owner, those owners that comply can go ahead and basically take title of that particular parcel. And make the compliant owner that makes
The proper improvements. So, do we have a motion? Ralph, is okay?
Move as amended.
Through the chair.
Commissioner Suarez has the floor.
Since we are ready almost to approve this, I'd like to ask a few questions about cleaning up things that I found in the contract. We talk about one, Tony and me, over the phone. We have description of, hold on a second. In the Exhibit A, we have subtitles for the northeast corner, the northwest corner, the southwest corner, the northeast corner, and then the following page, page 7, should have a title, southeast corner above the sentence as to Chassis Depot, which currently owns the following described property. Is missing, is not there. The southeast corner hasn't been accounted as a title to, on page 7.
I think it was been,
Yeah, this northeast corner, continues over here.
There is no southeast corner subtitle on page 6 or page 7.
Oh, no, you have two northeast corners.
that's right.
Yeah, it should be on page 7. A southeast corner subtitle
Southeast.
above the sentence that begin as to Chassis Depot and continue with R&G Engineering. Antonio,
You have two different northeast corners.
do you got it?
That's a typo which, yes, we agreed to change.
Yeah,
yes.
but for clarification.
Commissioner Suarez doesn't take typos, my friend.
I think the next time I draft a legal brief, I'm having proofreaders.
Tony and I spoke about this on the telephone, yeah.
No, and I agree with that. Yeah.
And also, you mentioned there are 5 owners. There are 6 owners.
6 owners.
Yeah, not 5.
6 owners.
Yeah, okay. I have another one.
I am the number 6.
Mr. President.
Yes,
So this also needs to be amended then to reflect southeast, correct?
Yes.
You're right, the owners of the southeast portion are not, the title of southeast is not on the contract. And that should be added. There's 2 northeasts. That is on page 4. No, page 6, I'm sorry, page 6.
You have the 2 different legal descriptions, however, there of that particular. In other words, and the first northeast corner is completely different from the second one. So my question is whether the second one, the one at the bottom of page 6, is actually a typo and it should be southeast.
That's what it is.
No, it isn't.
No?
No. The northeast corner is accounted for at the beginning of page 6.
Correct.
But on that section, not all lots are included.
Correct.
There is one missing lot, which is lot 1, which is accounted for on page 7 at the top, which belongs also to the northeast corner. So that subtitle northeast corner at the bottom of page 6 is correct. Is to account for that lot 1 that is not accounted on the top of the page.
Commissioner, what I'll do is, as this particular item is amended, I'll get together with
You
Mr.
add the legal
Rodriguez
description
and the
as
council,
well.
so to make sure that it is amended to reflect the actual legal description of all corners.
I have another one on legal description. On the legal description section of all the lots that are affected by the rotunda, the circle, the lot number 8, look at the rotunda diagram. On the southwest corner, on the very, very corner, lot 8, southwest corner, lot number 8. We got legal descriptions of all the lots affected except for that lot 8. Why?
Probably because it's not close enough to the circle, probably. I see it.
No, lot 10 on the northwest corner is even farther away from the circle and is accounted for.
Tony?
Yeah.
It's here. You don't have one of these for lot 8.
Okay, then in that case, what we need to do is, again, meet amongst ourselves and provide you with.
We'll
with
amend
that
the
legal-
exhibits as well to incorporate number 8.
Lot 8
number
on the southwest corner is not accounted on the
Lot 8, lot
legal
3,
description
right?
page.
I would like to ask Mr. Suarez if he can start checking my plans too, so that that would be awesome for my company.
Well, he's a consultant.
Lot 8, lot 3.
That's all I have. Thank you, Tony.
I jotted down the amendments and they will be incorporated.
Okay.
So do I have a motion?
Move.
Okay. There is a motion by Commissioner Duazo and second by Commissioner Maroño as amended with a 36-month period, grace period to make the improvements, and also as requested by Commissioner Suarez, the legal description of those lots on the southeast and Lot 8 on the northwest portion of the circle.
And the amendment, Mr. President, regarding non-compliance of one owner, allowing
Absolutely.
those complying owners to perform the work and basically have that property be
Revert to them.
Revert to the person and
to those who make the improvements.
make the improvement. Okay, everyone in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item 5 passed unanimously. Congratulations, Tony.
When do we start construction on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
You better fix the road right away.
Like a year?
We, the next step I want to do now is start preparing the construction drawings, and then pull permits and start going. Yeah, right away.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Oh,
Thank you.
you're very welcome, sir. Okay, item 6 is being pulled out from,
It'll be
Mayor
brought back,
Lopez is not here, he wants to pull out that item.
it'll be brought back in December.
All right, so it's gonna be tabled to December. Item number 7, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sweetwater, Florida, authorizing the mayor to execute forbearance agreement with Regions Bank and providing an effective date. Ralph?
As we've discussed before, this is the forbearance agreement on the matter that had previously come before this commission with regard to Regions Bank. The forbearance agreement, as we had stated before, is remarkably beneficial to the city. Has remarkably favorable terms. Essentially, the city agrees to pay $340,000 before the end of this calendar year. The city agrees to keep Regions Bank informed as to the procedure for sale of the property in the Northern District. The city agrees to sell that property sometime during the coming year. And the city also agrees to pay Regions in full sometime during the coming year. However, if the city somehow finds the money to pay Regions without selling the land, then we don't have to sell the land. However, we do need to pay them before the end of the year. The penalty for not paying them before the end of the year is
Next
that
year. So they renew.
before November, I'm sorry, before
2016.
September 31, October 13, September 31,
September 31.
2016. September 30th. There is no 31. But anyway, the penalty before for not paying them by that date is that the standard interest rate that we're bearing right now, which is about 3.5%, will go up to over 13% as penalty interest. And in December, they will file a civil action that we will agree to, giving them a writ of mandamus, but they will hold off, they will forbear, hence the forbearance agreement. They will forbear executing on the writ of mandamus until October, November. If we don't pay them by then they will file the writ of mandamus and they'll get an order compelling payment. So it is the position of the administration that this is an exceptionally favorable agreement.
Sure.
And I would strongly, on behalf of the mayor, would strongly urge this commission to accept it.
Move.
Mr. Ventura.
Second.
Please, too.
I think
The
that
chair,
Commissioner
yeah.
Suarez has a chair.
The
and
last-
has the floor.
The last day for payment is October 30th. Day
November 31st, 2016.
I thought you mentioned was the day
It's
before
in the
Halloween.
document. Do you have the?
The day before Halloween.
It is the end of November, and according to this, now if you're referring to what the previous one, I believe, or without this agreement, the deadline was November 1st.
Yeah. Without that agreement, we're currently in default. Then yes, then it would be the end of November 2016 by the time we have to pay.
Okay.
So this extends a deadline that has already passed
Yes.
all the way to the end of November 2016.
Actually, all the way into the next fiscal year.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so do I have I had a motion from Commissioner Bergignan and a second by Commissioner Maronio. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 7 passed unanimously.
Thank you.
We have item 8, an ordinance creating amnesty period, creating a limited exemption from civil penalties and liens for building code violations upon a homeowner's compliance with the building code and or additional criteria, providing severability, inclusion in the code, and an effective date. Commissioner Bergignan.
Okay, this is basically the amnesty we've been waiting for. It's a second. Yeah, it's a second reading. No?
Commissioner, this item is before you as a first reading.
Oh,
item.
yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, it is? Okay.
This meeting is open to the public. If there is anyone in the audience that wants to make any comments regarding this item, please come forward. No one is coming forward. Public meeting is closed to the public. Do I have a
Move.
motion by Commissioner Barreto and Maronio? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Llanos. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Maronio,
Yes?
Commissioner Suarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Duaso,
Yes.
Commissioner Bergignan,
Yes.
Commissioner Barreto,
Yes.
Commissioner Yanyo,
Yes.
President Diaz.
Yes, item 8 passed unanimous. Congratulations, Commissioner.
Oh, for everybody in the
Now,
city.
it's our intention to advertise this and put it for second reading in December.
December meeting, okay. Just so, if I can in Spanish. Esta fue la primera vez que se leyó esta ordenanza y se va, si Dios quiere, aprobada en la reunión de diciembre 2, 7.
Seven.
Y ya entonces está en efecto la ordenanza para la amnistía.
And just one quick thing, just to make sure that I inform you the changes that took place from the previous draft. The previous draft really didn't go as far back as some of the folks in the public and some of the commissioners wanted to do. So, understanding the concerns from the building official, that he wanted to make sure that we apply the Florida Building Code. That is encompassed for any permits up to 2002, and for any structure with an expired permit or built without a permit prior to 2002 under the old South Florida Building Code, there are a number of conditions that you find in that ordinance that those particular homeowners need to comply with, property owners need to comply with, related to safety and other requirements that were not present in the South Florida Building Code, but are present in the Florida Building Code. So we basically cover all angles with that, and the building official has viewed this amnesty ordinance in its present form in a favorable way.
What is the period of time to be in order to comply with this? What is the time period or limit for the property owner?
The amnesty basically is good for 12 months. You have 12 months to try to come in and
fix the violation.
Correct.
Okay.
Should the commission decide at that point, prior to its sunset, to go ahead and extend it, the commission may do so.
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner.
Okay. I'm sort of confused, like in dates, so that people can understand. Don't we have a deadline December 1st?
No, December 30th is the moratorium on
For
anonymous complaints
Yes.
is when it's over, which is the issue we were having. So on the 31st, the anonymous complaints, I believe, then can resume. But you can come and you can have an amnesty on anything that you may have in your house.
Ajá,
They're
then-
fired.
Yeah, but.
So if they come and give you they're not going to come and give you a ticket right away. They come and give you a warning if somebody turns you in for an illegal window. So then you're going to get a warning, I believe, and then you get to come in and say, hey, I want to use the amnesty and get it, legalized.
So the ones that have been received because of those anonymous already, and they have been holding because it's due when? On December 1st?
You can take advantage of the amnesty and
But
come.
it's not effective until December 7th.
It doesn't matter.
So we
In
have
7
a-
days, Commissioner, the world is not
No,
gonna.
it's December 31st.
Oh, it's
I'm
December
done.
31st.
December
I'm sorry.
31st is when the
Yeah.
I didn't know the date.
the
Yeah,
moratorium.
31st,
Yeah,
31st.
just to make it clear, because I know we're gonna be asking neighbors.
But from what I understand, the old anonymous complaints that everybody was coming up with out of the sky, and
Yes.
those are going to be gone. They have to come new, starting on the 31st. If somebody's going to complain about something anonymously.
Okay, so actually, you can actually go in and whoever wants to comply
Mhm.
can go to the amnesty.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. That's.
Quiero expresarle esto en español a las personas, porque creo que es muy importante esto que ha traído el comisionado Berguignan a la mesa y que se hizo la primera lectura anteriormente, y esta ha sido ya la segunda lectura y va a venir en diciembre a ser efectiva. Y es una amnistía que ha tenido la iniciativa el comisionado y nosotros lo hemos apoyado para que todas las personas que tienen violaciones en su propiedad puedan tener un año, por un periodo de un año, la posibilidad de traerla a código o de legalizarla para que no estén violando el código de la ciudad. Creemos que esto va a beneficiar a muchos residentes que a través de la historia han comprado sus propiedades con violaciones que desconocen y que en un momento determinado alguien puede provocarles un daño extenso en esta situación. Así que
Sin multa.
y no van a tener multa por este tipo de situación. Así que estamos contentos de haber podido colaborar con el comisionado Berguignan en esta situación. Muchísimas gracias, comisionado
Yeah,
Suárez.
through the chair. Mr. Berguignan, the current amnesty on the anonymous reporting expires December 31st?
Yes, I believe that's how it works.
Then
Yes.
it means that January 1st, the anonymous reporting goes in effect again?
I believe so, but there might be some changes in the city's policies, if you will, that you have to write, that you have to, it's not going to be any more anonymous. I'm not sure about that, 100%.
Yeah.
You have to check with the building department.
I don't find it very fair in the anonymous reporting because it puts the owner.
Well, what's happening is that one thing is, what it's meant for is so there won't be any retaliation for somebody, but it was using in reverse. Some of the people that were being fired or they're wanting to retaliate the administration or the commissioners or whoever started not only going to all the commissioners and all the mayors, everybody got it, that they actually started going to apartment buildings and picking on the elderly for, that's why I use windows a lot, because now all of them gotta go change their windows. And it costs a lot more money to get a demolition, to even say, well, I don't even wanna buy a $500 window. They gotta get $200, they gotta get a demolition permit. It was a nightmare for the elderly. They were going crazy with that, so. Hopefully that's gone away and they won't abuse it.
Commissioner Duazo.
Es para aclarar el concepto, porque eso está en mi pueblo. Hubo una serie de denuncias por envidia, por odio hacia una serie de ciudadanos en la ciudad que tenían cosas allí que no. No queremos, eso es el pasado. A mí me denunciaron. Yo estaba dentro de la ley, ya tengo una carta. Que no, lo mío no tengo problema. Pero fue por envidia. Y entonces tenemos un comisionado muy bueno, con dolor en el alma, queriéndoles ayudar a ustedes. Los felicito, Berguignan. Por eso se lo dicho en español a mi pueblo. Muchas gracias.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Suarez, to your point, I'm not necessarily aware of any administrative change of procedures as they take in anonymous complaints. In the past, that practice was allowed, I'm not aware of any changes to that particular procedure, but this commission also has the ability to enact legislation basically prohibiting that. I mean, I think it can be accomplished either with some administrative, change in administrative procedure, or it could be legislated by the commission.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we move to item number 9, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sweetwater, Florida, authorizing the purchase of a breaker hammer from Granger's Industrial Supply for the Public Works Department and provided an effective date. Commissioner Duaso.
May I, Mr. President?
Commissioner, you have the floor.
For many years, maintenance my baby. 15 years is my baby. I talked last week on 3 or 4 different employees in the maintenance department. I said, Mr. Duaso, I need. When the use crane broke all the sidewall, different than the machine. I present for you. I don't know what he say another commissioner, but in my opinion, I need for maintenance department.
To the chair, in the last meeting, you say no. You don't approve.
Say usted, but at this moment I say yes.
And now I say move. We need it.
This is my constitution. The United States.
I'm surprised.
This is my opinion.
Through the chair.
Go ahead, Commissioner Suarez.
Mr. Abolila.
Yes, sir.
Let me first say that I am for the hammer. And I was for the hammer the previous meeting, November 2nd. I was one of the 2 yes votes. But I have a question. Last time, when it was disapproved, the cost was $1,993, as is stated here, to be bought at Granger Industrial Supply. And you said that you found a Lowe's warehousing.
That's correct.
Same brand, Bosch.
Yes.
For
50.
not 1,993, but for 1,499.
That's
Why we have to buy in Granger now for more money?
We're not. I didn't bring the item, Commissioner Duaso did, and he just failed to make the correction, but we will purchase it from Lowe's.
The same brand?
Same
cheaper?
model.
$14.99.
$14.99.
Good.
That was an error there. It was simply, at Commissioner Duaso's request, it was simply put back on the agenda without the correction before.
It's a $500 saving.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, sir. I am for it.
Yeah.
So I voted no on the last meeting, and I want to ask Ricardo's assistance here and Public Works Director. From what funds are we taking this money?
Well, it's budgeted in both budgets, and it was approved August of last year under resolution in a tools and equipment line item.
Okay.
May I?
So this is budgeted on the amended budget by the commission?
It is.
The adopted amended budget.
The
Okay.
final
May I,
adopted
Mr.
budget.
President?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Mr. Director of Finance, say having 2 budgets. I don't know what budget is. It's in the city, 1 or 2, but say in the 2.
Or 3.
It should be 1.
In the
And
2.
only 1.
Mr. President,
Yes,
now
Commissioner.
you're talking about budget, finance, money, all that. Mr. Mende, I had a question for the following item, the budget revision. Does include also the piece of hammer that Mr. Duaso is requesting. And the budget clean up, 1415. That clean up include the amendment made by the commissions in the special meeting August 26/15. So I cannot decide my answer to buy or not to buy the hammer because we are working in, I don't know how many budget, I don't know which budget we have. And according to the memorandum, it says a clean up revision.
The budget cleanup is a different item, and this particular hammer belongs to this current. Is in the 14-15 fiscal year, so on a different budget.
15-16.
I'm sorry, 15-16.
But what budget?
There you go.
Mr. President?
We should be talking according to, go ahead, I want you to make it clear to the commission that we are working on whenever we refer to a budget, it should be the adopted, amended budget by the commission of the city of Sweetwater. If someone is using any other budget, it's in violation.
Okay, but Mr. President, I would like to ask again Mr. Mendez. I know this is the next item, the budget revision. Okay, that include the amendment made by the commissioner in August 26-15. That's include all.
Mr. Attorney?
Yeah, it's just, I just want to make sure that everyone here understands that the item, the present item, it impacts the 15-16 budget.
Correct.
The budget revision is for the previous fiscal year, for the 14-15 fiscal year.
Okay, so we're requesting the hammer for the 15,
It
16.
impacts the
this-
current operating budget as adopted by this commission on September 28th, which is the operating budget of the city.
I don't think so, because
Good evening, Commissioner. If I may clarify, number one, the hammer that is before you right now, this item belongs to this current operating fiscal year. And it is budgeted under both the adopted tentative budget that was approved by the commission, which is the one that we are operating on, like the president says, and it is also budgeted on the amended budget. Now, in regard to the budget cleanup, this item does not belong there.
okay, the next item, I would like you to answer that question. Okay?
Commissioners, I want to make sure that you understand that I know there's a lot of discussion of two budgets, but this commission on September 28th went ahead and adopted its final budget. And it is in my view and in my legal opinion that is the operating budget. There is no working budget in the charter or in the code. The operating budget is and ought to be the
law of
final
the land.
adopted budget that this commission passed on September 28th in its final budget hearing.
May I have?
Go ahead, Commissioner Yanni.
Really, right now, I'm totally confused. He just mentioned that there was the tentative budget. That's not the budget that the commission approved. And the city is not being run by our budget that we approved. It's run by the tentative budget. That was approved by the commission, but we did the amendments.
The commission approved a tentative budget at its
Okay.
first budget hearing.
Exactly.
At its second and final budget hearing, the commission adopted its final adopted budget, which again, in my opinion, that is and ought to be the operating budget.
But it's not.
It is. What somebody else uses is a different story.
Yeah, they're not being,
We're going by the final
but
adopted
we're
budget.
going by,
We're going
by
by
that, but it's not being done that way.
Well, that's a whole nother story.
Okay.
I
We
just have one
have
quick
to wait to
question.
get there. We have to get
Okay,
there.
To the
that's
chair?
what I'm trying
Go
to
ahead,
figure it
Commissioner.
out.
I think it's a real simple question, because this is what happened last time. Where in the final adopted budget for 15-16 year is the money coming from? What specific line item? Not contingency, don't say contingency.
Tools and equipment.
Tools and
Tools
equipment.
and equipment.
Okay, it's there, okay.
And the purchase was approved under resolution back in
Second.
August of last year. And before you vote, one more thing. I mean, the sidewalks and the condition that they're in are a liability for the city. In September of this year, the commission approved the purchase of a concrete mixer, $3,800. We're asking for a hammer that costs substantially less.
Right, but you gotta understand there was a lot of politics involved in this. It's not about a friggin' hammer. It's
Absolutely.
about the budget.
To me, it's all about a hammer.
Okay, so there is a motion by Commissioner Duaso and Commissioner Maronio. Do I have a second for the
Second.
hammer?
As amended.
Second by Commissioner Bergignan and Commissioner Suarez as amended. All in favor, as amended, so it's not from Granger for,
It's from Lowe's.
it's from Lowe's at $1,499.
That's correct.
All in favor say aye.
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 One no.
No.
Thank
There
you,
is
Commissioner.
one no.
Thank you.
It's a 6-1. Item number 10, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sweetwater, Florida, authorizing payment to Oracle Elevator for emergency repairs to the elevator in City Hall and providing an effective date. Is this, Ralph, this Oracle Elevator was the repairs that, for incoming repairs or for the repairs already performed when the elevator had the problem?
Alan, do you have an answer for that?
I didn't hear the question. One more time, please.
Okay, is this money going to Oracle Elevator is for like a year contract or for things that had, we had the problem with the elevator?
No, it's for a repair. We canceled the contract with Oracle and have a new company that the commission approved several months ago for half the price on a monthly contract.
Move.
And
Where's
that's
the money
it.
coming from? General fund?
Yes, that's where's the money coming from? Because those are $6,300.
It was a repair that was made on an emergency basis when the elevator caught fire because one of the transformers in front of City Hall blew
I
up.
remember, but where the funds are coming from?
That's
General fund or repairs and maintenance or?
It says here, the impact of general funds is 6,300.
Repairs and maintenance.
I think that we created those memorandums to be specific and not vague.
Mr. President, the City Hall has a separate budget for repair and maintenance than the Public Works Department does, so it would come out of City Hall repair and maintenance.
I will email you tomorrow, Mr. Mendez. I want you to tell me exactly what line item that comes from.
Move.
Okay, there is a motion by Commissioner Bergignan,
Second.
second by Commissioner Maronio.
Mr. President, is the commission amending the funding source for this item? Because it currently lists general funds.
No, we want it,
Oh, wait,
yeah, that's the problem. We want these funds to be from repairs and maintenance for the City Hall.
Repair and maintenance.
Now, do we have those monies, Ricardo?
Yeah.
Ricardo, you have to be accompanied by a copy of the budget at all times, even when you go home.
Right. But remember, this was an emergency, okay? This was-
The only question that we want is to know where the funds are coming. Do we
Okay.
have
I'll
contingency reserve or?
I'll email you the specific line item tomorrow.
But
Just
we
like
have
you
the
asked.
money.
Have to know now.
Yes.
But how are we gonna vote and then if it comes from the general funds?
Mr. Mendez, as listed, the resolution provides general fund. So if that is to be changed, I just need the actual line item,
Okay.
so that can be reflected in the resolution.
It may
and
or
it's
it may
amended.
not.
So
I
we,
will let you know tomorrow.
we
first thing.
should extend this to the meeting on December 7th.
I think this was an since this was an emergency, okay, it had to be addressed in the,
But
in
even
the
in
most,
emergency,
in the
Ricardo,
most
please,
effective way.
even in emergency, we need to know where the money is coming from. Do you understand, Ralph? We need to know where the money comes from. That's the memo for. If you have a memorandum for this type of, and I think that it was a great idea that came up from my, and with all due respect, my former chief of staff, it was precisely for the commission to be informed beforehand, before coming here, that this is crystal clear, where the funds are coming from this source, or from this line item.
The resolution states that it is to come from general funds. And I would suggest we leave it at that, at this stage.
From the general funds?
Yes, sir.
Through the chair,
Commissioner Suarez?
I have a need to know. In the budget, we have hundreds of line items, and we have one that is for reserve funds. What are general funds?
That's a finance question.
Okay, the general fund is the main operating fund that the city has.
Does it have a line item?
No, the general fund is, well,
The general fund is the fund that funds every other fund that the city has under different line items.
but let me make
So
a little,
when you say come from the general fund, then you are stealing from another line item somewhere to cover that general fund within quotes.
Not necessarily, sir.
Where do you get it from? Where do you get that money from to call it then general fund?
I'm not a finance person.
Me
but
neither, that's why I'm asking the questions.
But I have been here long enough to understand that that unless an item is specifically identified coming historically, going back 8 or 9 years, unless an item specifically is identified that's coming from one particular fund, it is
One particular line item?
Yes, sir. One particular line item within the general fund. It is identified just generally as coming from general funds. That has been the practice in this city going back 3 administrations. You can debate as to whether that is a wise practice or not, but that is the practice that has been in place going back at least to 2007 when I first came here, city attorney. Now, that's how it's listed in this resolution. The reason it's listed this way is because this was a very large expense. City Hall does in fact have its own maintenance fund as a specific line item within general funds. However, Alan was telling me that this will essentially blow out that fund completely for the year.
no, Ralph, is gonna be any problem if we, excuse me one second, Commissioner. Is gonna be any problem if we postpone this to to December 7th meeting? Are we already behind on these payments?
We are. We're 3 months behind.
Well, actually, according to my experience, when there is not a specific line item, we have to go and refer to the general fund because that's where like elevators, we never thought that we have to create a line item for elevators.
No,
So we
but
go
for
to the
repair
general
and
fund.
maintenance of the city hall, yes.
Yes.
No,
but-
absolutely,
but-
And it's very easy to say from general fund.
And then
Where
leave that
is the
open.
general fund?
I understand your question. I
You
understand
know,
your, I
where
understand
is the
your-
general-
no, I understand your concern. I understand your concern. And again, I'm not saying this was a wise practice. I'm just saying this is the way it has always been done. This actually is, or was, an emergent situation. Was an emergency. It needed to be taken care of. Perhaps it should simply come from the fund that's within general funds devoted to that, which is contingent reserves. Or the
So
contingency fund.
what I
If you
can,
want to come from one specific line item.
what I can gather from what I heard is that general fund is everything.
It is
And then
essentially.
when you apply the word general fund, you are gonna steal from one line item to be able to pay for that.
Well, I wouldn't say that
This
you're
is
stealing.
Through the chair?
Because
Well,
it's
take
coming
from-
from,
take
it's coming
from.
from a legitimate
No.
fund to pay a legitimate debt, so that's not theft. It is simply an
Hold on,
accounting.
hold on.
It is an accounting
Hold on,
item.
Bert.
And
If I may, Commissioner Suarez. As the chief of staff has mentioned, this has been a long practice held in the city. Whether it's appropriate or not, I mean, that can be debated and changed or left alone. But essentially, think of it this way. You have $1,000 in the general fund. And of those $1,000, 600 are encumbered with line items. That leaves you $400 that are unencumbered. And expenses such as this then could be then tagged to the general fund.
May I answer?
Go ahead,
Is that
If you have $1,000 and you have $600 assigned to line items,
correct?
the $400 left over
Are unencumbered.
there is no line item called general fund. They should be reserve funds, money extra. Unless we change whatever we have to change and add one line item for the entire, I'm not an accountant, but I don't like that. Like for instance, I owe money to someone and I'm gonna pay that money I owe to someone and I'm gonna pick it from my white purse and pay the guy. I don't like that.
Commissioner
General
Suarez.
fund, where is the general fund? In the cloud up there?
Commissioner Suarez, notice how I preface my statements.
It's been a
as to-
practice for many years, but it
and-
doesn't necessarily make it right.
But again, remember my statements. My statements were whether that is the best practice, that it's up to this commission to perhaps change that
Let's-
as a
opinion,
directive.
it's a very bad practice.
Let's add, Commissioner, let me.
It leave us like we are right
Commissioner.
now. Where the general fund, excuse me, let me it's gonna leave us where we are right now. Where is that general fund coming from?
It is. You're 100% right. You basically have a pot of unencumbered funds that are not designated in the way that you perhaps would like to have designated.
Could that be one of the many? Could that be one of the many reasons? Not the only one, but the many reasons that we are in the hole that we are today. Because the general funds. The general fund. Where are the general funds?
Commissioner Suarez, if I may, a real simple explanation. All of the funds, all of the revenue that the city receives go into the general fund. When you have a line item, it was a line item that was prepared by the director for that department. And sometimes you don't envision all of the expenses that line item may require. So when you have an extraordinary expense that wasn't budgeted, it was not perceived, it comes out of that general fund because that's where the money for the city is deposited.
Then we should know here tonight that general fund is going to be taken from what line item?
No, all line items belong to the general fund,
To the
Commissioner.
chair, if I can.
All line items belong to the general fund. Let's say your bank account, your checking account. You have to pay FPL, you have to pay water, you have to pay all your utilities and expenses on a basic month. Let's say that you have a spreadsheet in your in your own budget, and you pay it every month out of that. Now the air conditioning breaks. You don't have that within your on a monthly basis payment. So let's say your wife asks you, my dear, where do we get this money from? From what account do we get this? And then you said from the checking account, because that's the bulk. The general fund is the bulk, and all line items lie within the general fund. The general fund is the bulk, the account, the checking account of the city.
Then if you use all the line items and you use $6,000 from the general fund, at the end of the day, using that cliche, you have $6,000 shortage that you don't have it, negative, because you picked it from the general fund and you exhausted every line item.
Well,
where do you get the $6,000 to satisfy your budget now?
Well, if we are like on if you don't have any reserve or any space in that general fund, yes, it becomes default. The only question here is this: if we have repairs and maintenance monies for the city hall or for any other department that could be used to pay this, we shouldn't get it from the general
That's my
fund.
point. It should say from
That-
what line item
Oh,
are
exactly.
we
May I,
going to
Mr.
subtract
President?
That, excuse me, Mr.
Yeah.
Rosso. We should say and be specific from what line item are we pulling out those $6,000 from the general fund, but on one line item, because we're going to subtract it from that line item the minute this is paid. So that repair and maintenance of whatever department now has $6,000 less because we use it for the emergency, but it's from the general fund. It's like, hey, keep charging the general fund until we run out of money, you know?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Let me question Alan. And your budget, you don't have money for equipment.
It does.
Repairs. Oh, okay.
You don't have money for equipment.
Yes.
For many, many years, when you buy everything and maintenance, it's for equipment, not for general fund, for equipment. Remember, 15 years in here. For equipment. I see the money for the equipment. Yes, this is equipment.
It's not. It's a repair of
For equipment.
City Hall facility.
You say you have money
Well, there's money in the.
for equipment. Why not
For
the
repair
general
and
fund?
maintenance.
Equipment, maintenance.
It's repair and maintenance, not equipment.
Equipment, maintenance, why you already discussion? Why?
Well, let's, my opinion is that, as I said, the general fund, as Mr. Attorney and Alan explained, the general fund embraces all the line items. When there is an expenditure that is not defined as a line item, it's not stealing, but we have to take it from the general fund.
Well, you should
Or
take it
next
from the
year,
reserve fund.
well, if there is a reserve, it shouldn't be from the reserve. There's reserve, we should take it only when we have no other options.
There is
If
no
I can-
other option here, because
No,
there is
Commissioner.
If I
there is
can,
no
to the
line
chair,
item.
Go
there's a
ahead.
real
Let's see.
simpler.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
think it's a simpler explanation. If you have $100 and you use $60 to fund all the line items, there's $40 left over. Exactly what you said. They should go to reserves. But what happens is they just leave it in the account of general funds as $40. And then what happens is when you do a budget revision or at the end of the year, you say, hey, in reserves now we have $40. Or you add the $40 to whatever your reserves is. The problem is that we don't do it often enough so that we can say every 2 months. And that's why you get those audit things that you get every month. You know, it's a couple months behind, but you get it.
Unaudited,
That's when you say, hey, we only have this much in reserves. I mean, in general fund left. And then you are supposed to say, well, there's only $40 left. I can't go spend 45. You know what I'm saying? So you were right. What they should do is put it in reserves as soon as possible. And then you have to pull it from reserves, you pull it from reserves.
But you cannot foresee that the elevator is gonna break again next month and have $10,000 for the elevator.
But what he's saying is an accounting practice, as far as being not being a line item. So that money stays there until you put it into reserves, because you can't just leave it in limbo. You have to account
Absolutely,
for it.
no, you have to
But
have some
it can't
general
be every
fund
day.
money
You don't
for
do
this
that every
type
day.
of
You don't do a budget revision every day.
situations.
So when you do a budget revision, if you do it especially when you're having a lot of issues, you do one every 3 or 4 months, then hey, we have this much now, we're gonna move it to reserves. The contingency is supposed to take over whatever, is not there.
Okay, let's say that we have to pay this money, because we have to pay it, we owe it. I am going to vote yes because we owe it, but I don't agree with the wording general fund. It should say from the reserve fund, because it's an emergency, and that's what the reserve fund is for.
Right.
So we have a clear accounting of where the budget is, where each line item is, and the reserve fund coming down because of the emergencies.
Commissioner,
What?
I agree with you, because what you worry about is this. If we have a memorandum for each expenditure that is brought to the commission, each should clearly state it, and I want you to be aware of this, Ricardo, that each should say the impact to general fund for $6,300, because this was an unforeseen expenditure and we have to get it from the general fund, because we don't have reserve, we don't have this type of money for repairs and maintenance as well.
Understood.
Voila.
3 important points why we respectfully request your approval tonight.
Absolutely.
This payment, it is imperative that the city issues that payment prior to November 30th, so that we don't get any audits.
We understand,
Okay,
Ricardo, we
and
understand.
number 2, this is a budgeted item. And number 3, we'll take your feedback into account and we will specify, we will make certain to specify whatever line item the item belongs. Then again, even if it is from contingency, they all stem out of the general fund. Thank you.
Okay, I make a motion to pay the $6,300 out of the general fund.
Second.
There is a second by Commissioner Maronio. All in favor say aye.
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 No.
Okay,
6-1.
it is a 6-1. Commissioner Barreto vote no. Item 11, a resolution of the mayor of the, a resolution of the mayor and commissioner of the city of Sweetwater approving budget revision number 2 of the city operating budget for fiscal year 2014-2015 and amending the say operating budget of the city of Sweetwater. Finance Director.
Then again, we respectfully request your approval so that we can move forward with the city's business. By state law, we need to have our last budget revision or a budget cleanup, as you may very well know, by November 30th. And as I sat down with many of you, I explained that this is balancing the different accounts in order to comply with general accepted accounting principles, city auditors, and the state law.
If I can, through the chair.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I know it's going to seem a little blunt to the people that don't understand what's going on, but I think that I would like to make a motion to defer this issue till
The special commission meeting.
to
Right.
another meeting, because at the end of the day, we don't have the information that we need as far as to what was paid with some of these issues, because it goes back to, I understand money's money, but as far as some of the unbudgeted personnel, who we paid, who we didn't pay, it gets into a long lengthy process where we'll be here 2 hours. At the end of the day, I think that everybody's in agreement that we don't have enough information to know the details to get this done.
So today is the
If I
23rd,
may,
24th.
Mr. President, if
Go
I
ahead,
please give me
Mr.
one
Mendez.
opportunity, because it is important that we try to work this out together. Let me give you some history. I'm gonna do my best, okay, so that to give you all of the information, perhaps so that you can make an informed decision. Number one, okay, this is budget revision number 2, okay, for the last fiscal year, or the cleanup. We only had 2 budget revisions. Remember, we used to have many before. We only had 2 this time. I mean, 1 and the cleanup. Okay, this stems out of resolution number 4092, which was adopted on August 26 by the City Commission. Then, the same resolution where revision number 1 was approved, I'm talking about number 4092, was vetoed by the mayor on September 21st. Then it was overridden by the commission on September 28, 2015. After the override, okay, by the city commission on 9/28, the budget revision number 1 that was adopted on August 26 became the official budget, and therefore it was posted in the system. And those were the numbers that we used to develop this budget cleanup. Therefore, again, I respectfully request
Mr. Chair,
your
real
approval.
See, if you're gonna go down this road, we're gonna be here 2 hours. One
But-
simple question.
Yes, sir.
Say yes or no, because I'm not gonna hear it 2 hours.
Okay.
In that, did you pay unbudgeted people in there?
The answer, you want to answer that, former city attorney?
The answer is that there are no, again, there are, and as we've said all along, there are no unbudgeted people. That there are positions that are open.
Unbudgeted positions. Are there any
There-
budgeted
there-
positions that
There
were?
are only the city, I believe the city clerk and the mayor are the sole budgeted positions. All the others are budgeted globally by department.
You're
You may-
reaching, man. This is, we're going on in a circle, and then that's why I moved to defer this until.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
We do have to comply with a very strict timeline. Let me, if I can suggest the following. I don't know what could be done between today and tomorrow. We have a meeting tomorrow. But to the extent that you may want to continue, that you may want to recess this meeting so you can take this issue up tomorrow evening, you may recess until tomorrow, let's say at 8:30, since you have a meeting scheduled at 8. This commission may recess, and I don't know if between now and then some additional light can be shed on the nature of this revision. You have that, but remember, we are in a bit of a crunch time with this, so the commission may go ahead and that's one of the options. You can go ahead and-
Can we resume tomorrow at 7 and then we have the other meeting at 8?
You can recess this meeting and continue this tomorrow at 7, yes.
Why don't we resume it after? Or it has to be before the next meeting?
The problem is
you
that the
can
30th
schedule
is
it.
Monday. Monday is,
You can
November
schedule
the
it.
30th.
You can reconvene, at 8:30.
Okay.
You can reconvene
I'd
this
rather
meeting
do it
at
after
8:30.
than earlier.
After, yeah, okay.
I have a question for the,
Go ahead, Commissioner,
Okay.
yeah. Commissioner, hold on 1 second, because I don't want to be rude to
No, it's
Commissioner.
okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Commissioner,
No,
go ahead.
no, it's okay.
If I may, Mr. President, at this point, though, you have a motion to defer that takes precedence over anything else that you're gonna do. So to the extent that you wanna entertain that motion, or that motion is withdrawn, I mean, that motion has to be dealt with before we do
We
anything
proceed,
else.
okay.
I want to withdraw the motion then. So
We resume
we're
the
gonna resume
meeting
the meeting.
tomorrow.
Okay.
8:30?
8:30 after the
And make the
special
motion
commission.
to resume this meeting tomorrow at 8:30 after the other.
may I have, I just have a
Before we,
question. Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead, Commissioner,
Okay.
go ahead.
This is my question, okay. We did the budget, revision with, we eliminate some, funding positions, and I have all the numbers right here, okay? So, on this budget that you are clean up, what happened with this position that was supposed to be eliminated?
At a recent city commission meeting, the city attorney gave an opinion, and he and I have discussed this today, that, again, the city commission may budget globally salaries per department. And you may decide that you're going to eliminate 2 individual positions, but who staffs the positions is a decision made solely by the administration. There are no unbudgeted positions. The only specifically individually budgeted positions are of mayor and I believe city clerk.
So we have been historically violating the charter of the city of Sweetwater by having people hired or fired without being a budgeted position.
The mayor cannot have it both ways. Through the chair?
Go ahead,
The
Commissioner.
mayor can have it both ways. He made the ordinance, which I gave to him and told him that he was breaking the law by paying the unbudgeted positions. Orlando Lopez made that ordinance. So he's acknowledging that there are unbudgeted positions. He's acknowledging that you can't individually change it and all that other stuff that was in that ordinance. But now it's, oh no, it's different now. It's a whole new world. Traditionally, all around the world, as far as I know, well, all around the world, in a lot of budgets, what happens is there's line items. And those line items are the direction in which the commission wishes to go and unbudget a position, not a person. That's why I insisted, with a lot of resistance from the finance department and the administration, to giving positions so there wouldn't be names, it was position. For example, if we have 5 welders and the city's not welding anymore, and we say, well, we want to reduce our services in welding so we can increase our elderly services, well, we're going to unbudget 4 of the welders.
If you are saying that you have 4 welders and you're going to unbudget one of the welders or a welder position, and so then it's up to the mayor to decide which among those 4 goes, then we're in complete agreement. If you're saying that you're going to unbudget one of the 4 welders and it's got to be Joe,
well, there has to be numbers. It's just like a car.
and there's no difference
just-
between numbers.
sure,
and
absolutely.
people. There's no difference.
You don't just say, hey, we're going to unbudget
It's
we're
a
going to
dis-
return a car. We
It's a
specifically
distinction without a
put-
difference.
Mr. President?
Okay.
Okay, what I believe, Ralph, even the administration, they cannot hire a person if there is not a budgeted position for that person. And that's what we have
That's his own
experienced with
ordinance.
Mayor Lopez.
That's his
Well,
ordinance.
with all due respect, sir, that's what we experienced with you for 20 months.
Right, but that's his ordinance, so he's acknowledging.
But
there's
he
a
brought
budget-
that up to stop that.
The decision as to the commission budgets globally and the administration decides who fills the slots. So in answer to your question, there are no unbudgeted positions.
So then that ordinance,
I would have to read the ordinance. Do not have it in front of me, and I have not had a chance to look at it. So I know there was something drafted a year and a half, 2 years ago, however long it was, but quite frankly, I did not expect that this item would garner this level of opposition, because it is a simple budget cleanup.
I understand, but there's a lot of ramifications because you're talking about, forget about what the commission itself wanted or decided and is being ignored by the administration. The self-ordinance that's being violated, which is against the law, but the fact that you have individuals who have lost their jobs and have families and everything else. And now if you're telling certain people, hey, we're authorizing that they were all of a sudden 6 months later they were budgeted. That guy comes back and sues the city and says, hey, I was budgeted and you guys fired me because I wasn't budgeted and whatever. We can cause a lot of lawsuits, a lot of issues. That's what I'm trying to prevent.
I don't think so. As I've said, individual employees are not the budget. They may be included on an attachment to the budget as, the people who fall within the line item for the global salaries, but it's the global salaries that are budgeted. It's the mayor's prerogative to decide how among those people that salary will, or that global budget of salaries will be
What
partitioned.
the mayor said here was that if, for example, the police department's budget for personnel is $6 million, we're going to just give one line item of salaries of $6 million so that he can do whatever he wants with it. It doesn't work that way. It goes by, that's why we control the items that are going to be bought or not bought.
What you did from
position.
memory, what this commission did from memory,
Mhm.
and again, I was here, but I'm speaking from memory, is to say 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 24, 25, 35, and 10, go.
Right.
Okay, those are people.
Right.
Now you may call them numbers,
Right.
but obviously those are people. Now,
There were positions.
the sum value
Right.
of those salaries
Right.
can be reduced. But how that sum value is distributed among the employees is an administrative prerogative.
Mr. Attorney, please.
I'm not going to get into it.
In the past, I believe I've been consistent in what I've relayed to this commission. And the example I've given at least 3 times is, if you have 5 maintenance workers and you eliminate 3, if you eliminate the funding of 3 of those positions of maintenance workers, leaving only 2, the commission cannot pick which 2 are left behind. That will be, at that point, up to the mayor. What I've been saying consistently is the commission can go ahead and eliminate that funding. The commission can, in fact, eliminate that funding. Previously, it has been said that you cannot, and I respectfully disagree. You can unfund positions. Now, as to how the remaining positions are going to be filled, that is, and I've said it before, it is up to the mayor. If you have 5 maintenance workers, you would unfund 3. Who the remaining 2 are going to be, the mayor may take seniority, qualifications, licenses, or any other criteria to determine who's going to fill those positions. But the commission cannot designate who specifically, which person specifically has to be removed. You can remove the funding for those positions.
Right, that's why I gave every position number to each position. And they didn't want to do it until we finally got it. And okay, these positions. And again, remember, what was happening here was that they were bringing unbudgeted personnel saying that there's no money and laying off another person, and then using that money to fund an unbudgeted position was never approved by the commission. And then not only was it not approved, the commission made a motion to not approve them, resolution not to approve it, a budget amendment to not approve it. The second 15 and 16 budget final adopted to remove those positions and bring back other people, and that was not done either.
Can I ask you a question to see if I understand your position, Commissioner? Let's say I have a budget of $500,000 for salaries. And Joe over here has serial number, employee number 001, and he makes $50,000. And you say, I'm going to unbudget line item 001. Now, the global salary for that department drops from 500 to 450. Are you saying then that Joe has to go, or are you saying that Joe can stay, but his 50,000 can come from somebody else's salary who has to go?
Well, the mayor's the one that puts the name of the person on the position. We unfund the position, that person has to go.
Are you saying
I'm
that
not firing the person. I'm
you're just
unbudgeting the
unfunding
position.
But then, if I understand your position correctly, it is actually diametrically opposed to the advice that the city attorney has just given.
He said we can unfund the position.
Yes.
But you can't choose who remains.
There are instances, for example, where if you have one position with a specific classification and there is only one, and if the funding for that one position is eliminated, obviously that position and those services are gone.
Right.
Now, whether there is another open position that the mayor may go ahead and grab that person and put that person there. For example, you have a position, X position, with a salary of $65,000. Okay, you go ahead and eliminate funding for that specific position. Those $65,000 are gone. Now that person cannot serve in that particular capacity. Now, to the extent that there's another position, okay, and the mayor may want to go ahead and put that person there, because of the salary, it would require approval of the commission, because I believe you have a threshold of $50,000. But if it's less than that, the mayor at that point may move that person to another position. So
That is open.
But you're eliminating the funding.
But to be clear, we specifically understand that, because we specifically put two people that were unbudgeted. One lady left, position opened up. It's not personal. Hey, put her in that position. Great. Happened in two different jobs. We put them back. It's nothing personal. We're funding a position just like the way I look at it. It's just like if it's a car, and just like if it's something else, in the direction that we're trying to go with the city's needs.
I believe timing is also an issue here. At the time, if for example, if there were no vacant positions and additional positions were added, and to the extent that the commission basically directed for those positions to be eliminated, I believe at that point, whenever the directive was given, and if the directive was proper, and you don't have any vacant positions where those people could have gone, that is a different issue. That is a different issue. So I guess you need to look at the timing of when you gave those directives and the status of vacant positions versus those additional positions that continue to be discussed. I think timing, you have to look at that particular time.
And again, the numbers that were used to develop this budget cleanup, to balance this budget cleanup, came from the original budget that was adopted by the City Commission on August 26, vetoed by the mayor on the 21st of September, and then overridden by the Commission. Therefore, those are the numbers that were posted in the system, number one. Number two.
But wait a minute. Those people that we're talking about 14, 15. Those people were never budgeted in the city, and now we're paid for them. And I understand we paid for them. It's got to go in the budget. But I don't want it to reflect that we're budgeting those positions. So that's the big dilemma here.
Okay.
And I understand that you have to put the numbers, I get it.
And
But-
one more thing, one important point, commissioners, for you to take into account is that if the employee remains working for the city still has an obligation to pay them. Obviously, all those people,
I respectfully disagree with you. Again,
if they continue to work,
if you're paying somebody unlawfully, the ordinance that I gave you.
I don't.
Oh, but you see, the thing is, you can't have it both ways, man. It's either you have to stand up and say, hey, I'm not going to follow an unlawful order.
We deliver the budget, okay, with all of your amendments. Now, whether those people that you wanted to rehire were rehired, and whether those people that you want...
They were unfunded and they were not...
That's a different thing, okay?
No, if you issue a check knowing that this person is not supposed to be issued a check.
We didn't, and the biggest proof is that we balanced the budget. Here is a balanced budget cleanup. All those
But
accounts...
that's why we're in the dilemma, because
and those
you paid
people,
unbudgeted people.
And those people that were here, that were not separated from the city, continue to work and continue to get paid.
And you continue to break the law.
Well, obviously, the administration has a difference of opinion.
But the only opinion that counts is the lawyers, and it's not the administration.
I will let that to the
I-
attorneys to discuss.
I want to go ahead and
That's just the first
and make the following point. To the extent that there were positions, that there were no vacant positions, and you had additional either positions that were created and had not been approved, okay? At the time that this commission may have given specific directives relative to those positions, I think that's the key, to see whether or not when this commission made that directive, those positions fit somewhere in the budget or it didn't. Because if you have a budget of $500,000 and you have all your people there spending $500,000, if you add additional positions and the commission say we are not going to approve those, get rid of them, you still have the $500,000 limit. You have the money's being spent on personnel and any additional people. I think that the commission can go ahead and do that. To the extent that there were vacant positions and there were monies available,
There you go.
you have to look at that. Now, that question I cannot answer. You have to look at the time when those directives were made.
I can actually answer that question, because the big unbudgeted positions, there are several of them are supposed unbudgeted positions because they're not unbudgeted. But the supposed unbudgeted positions are the 4 members of the command staff.
No,
No? Those are not unbudgeted.
there's
I'll
more.
come to
You keep going to the 4. It's not the 4. We had a couple of clerks. We had IT department, PIO.
Yes.
$750,000, Ralph. You're laying off people over here, and then you're bringing people for positions, and then, okay, I can understand. I got common sense. Hey, for whatever reason, hey, I want to bring a worker. They're unbudgeted. Hey, I needed to bring them. I brought them on board. Hey, the next meeting, I go to the commission and go, listen, I had to bring this person on board. I'm asking for your approval to put these people on the and make them budgeted. Okay, for 2 weeks you had to pay the person. Hey, that's common sense. We'll go along with it. But that you lay off people, you make a big stink about money, and then you bring in $750,000 worth of people. We tell you that those positions are not budgeted. Please, dismiss those people. And
As far as I know, everybody who has been slotted in there was slotted into a position that existed before and existed in the budget that was approved last year.
we didn't have an IT position.
But
We didn't have the PIO.
We did have 250,000.
We didn't have the one that was the clerk for the mayor using the IT position more than the position that's budgeted was being paid more than that position, and then was on the 15 budget with a $50,000 raise, and now he's the IT guy. And we told you, hey, you're breaking your own ordinance. I don't get it. It's just, and then we're the bad guys.
We have been, yes. We have been through this many
Right,
times.
right.
Yes, we have been through this many times. The IT person, as you we have had this conversation. The city was paying an exorbitant amount to IDS. There was a slot available in the mayor's office from the many people who had been hired there under the previous administration. One or two of those slots were actually empty. He was slotted in there. Another person was slotted in a position that was
But he was the IT guy, right? If he's the IT, no, really.
No,
if the person's coming in and the position, because I'm going to the
So
point.
your argument is that instead of spending $50,000 or $60,000 on the IT person, we should spend $250,000 on
No,
IDF.
that's not my argument. My argument is that that Orlando made an ordinance that you cannot use a budgeted position, pay more to that position that is already budgeted. You can't also not put a person in a budgeted position as a assistant, and he's working as an IT guy, and then and then not go to the commission and ask, and like what I'm just telling you. Oh no, you're gonna get it because that's the way it works, and that's the way I want it, and that's the way I see it, and too bad.
Right, well.
And it's over and over with the same thing. So we're trying to resolve the problem. Our actions have always been, at this point, reactionary to what the new trick of the day is for when we come to the commission. We haven't been aggressive.
At all.
We're just reacting to it and trying to better and work together. And I think that that's the next step, that we all have to start working together. We have to. The mayor has to start working with us, and we have to start working with him. We got to get over our personal issues of I'm not going to meet with him, and he's got to get over the issue of I'm not going to meet with him.
Oh,
we all work together.
The mayor has extended offers to meet with everybody.
After he does whatever he wants.
We met with you.
Don't
met
come
with
to
you.
me if you already did over whatever you feel like.
We all have
Not
to
at
admit
all.
that we have.
You and I met in the mayor's office, and we told you point blank that the city had serious financial problems before any of this hit the fan. This was in June. You and I were there. So the mayor brought and tried to have meetings with each and every one of you early on. 4 of you actually came, and eventually a 5th came. We still have yet to meet with the 6th.
But a year before, he comes out as mayor and says there's financial difficulty, and Orlando Lopez says impossible. It's not. It doesn't happen.
Well, what happened last year in this budget is that the burn, we had a $17.5 million budget, and the burn rate by May would have taken us to $20 million by the end of the fiscal year. It was only through the layoffs that we were able to bring the budget in by around $18 million. That's what happened.
But you spent $750,000 more.
No, because going back to the command staff, the city has always had a command staff.
Right.
Okay, so whether you staff
Within
them,
the same police department.
But the command staff
They're-
went.
they're the- they are the same
You
police
brought new people.
The command staff
Even
went.
without talking to the mayor, to the commission. I'm sorry, Commissioner Bergignan.
You brought people from the outside as well. You brought Villanueva and I don't know who the other guy was, Murciego. I forgot who that was. It might have been him, might have been somebody else. But you brought people from the outside as well, hired as lieutenants and captains. You hired somebody as a major.
Burriño was an open position for city that was opened by
That was vetoed.
Mayor Maroño.
That was vetoed.
I don't think we're
and he was
progressing in
put- he
anything
was placed in
positive.
a separate position.
But this is just.
Either way. Yeah.
Commissioners, with all respect, in the best interest of the city, I just spoke to the city attorney. Let's get together tomorrow. I will make it my business. Let's go over this and let's comply with the state law.
Okay, but can I ask you a question? Because this is the problem I'm having, and I don't mean to be personal, but this is like the 5th or 6th time that I meet with everybody, and at the end of the day, it's the same answers you're giving right now.
Well, again, we need to work. We need to
No,
keep trying until we get it done, because we need to comply with the state law, and we don't want any more findings in the
But not
city's
the
law.
ordinances.
Let's get together, as I asked the city attorney, at whatever time it is convenient for you. I will make myself available. I can talk about Ralph, but I'm sure that he'll give it a try as well.
I'll be in New York.
Okay. So, please, let's try and move forward. As your finance director, I'm asking you, let's give it a try.
Or are you going to change your answer?
I don't change answers, sir. I gather the facts and I give you the facts.
So
May
the
I,
fact
Mr.
is,
President?
go ahead, Commissioner.
I say move for tomorrow's special meeting, I said it.
Actually, we're going to recess.
For
right?
We're gonna
tomorrow.
We're gonna recess and
Recess
reconvene
at
tomorrow evening
night
at
at
8:30.
8:30.
Okay, there is a motion by Commissioner Duaso to recess and continue this meeting tomorrow after the special commission meeting. There is a second by Commissioner Yanio. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Suarez,
Yes.
Commissioner Duaso,
Yes.
Commissioner Bergenyan,
Yes.
Commissioner Barreto,
Yes.
Commissioner Yanyo,
Yes.
Commissioner Maronio,
Yes.
President Diaz.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We will resume this meeting tomorrow after the special commission meeting.
12, item 12, sir.
Item 12.
Item 12.
We've already recessed.
No, the meeting, the entire meeting have to recess, yes.
Se va a aclarar ahora.